6:01. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans wrapped up mandatory minicamp yesterday, and head coach Brian Callahan spoke to the media about what his thoughts on how the offseason went this year.
I'm really happy with how the program went, and I think you can ask the players how they felt about it. I think it kept our competitiveness high. I think it kept our focus on the things that matter. The intent of what we were trying to get done was sort of on our minds all the time. So I think it made us a better football team at the end of the day, and that's what the goal was. And again, we got another whole lot of work ahead of us for the program in and of itself. I thought it was, for the most part, successful.
The Titans will now break for the remainder of the offseason until they have to report back for training camp on July 22nd. Last night, the Stanley Cup final drama continues with Game 4 as the Edmonton Oilers come back from 3 down after the first period. They beat the Florida Panthers 5-4 in overtime thanks to Oilers center Leon Draisaitl's NHL playoff record 4th overtime goal. The series now is tied up at 2 games apiece and will shift back to Edmonton for a crucial Game 5 Saturday night. And in golf at the U.S. Open, after round 1, American J.J. Spaun is the leader in the clubhouse, going 4 under par while shooting a record 31 in the front 9 and holding on the rest of the way to card a bogey-free round. Only 10 players after round 1 shot under par. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome in to Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Welcome to the summer break in the National Football League. We've got Cam Ward talking about confidence and how 7-on-7 ain't real football. Brent Hubbs talks Vols with us at 7:20. Ron Slay joining the show in hour 4. Ramon Foster, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Will. Happy Friday, my brethren.
Yes, sir.
Like you said, it's summer for a lot of different reasons. Was at a ballpark last night. Surprising.
Shocker.
Surprising. You know how I know it's summertime outside? One of my boys said it. It may have been both of them, man. It was like, man, well, the Fireflies are back out. It's like, look at y'all been observing. You're not just head down on your phones all the time. Cool. But last night at the ballpark, we were sitting in the stands, and the lights were shining on the field. Mm-hmm. Bugs, okay?
Everywhere.
Bugs.
Literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, what are y'all doing? It's like, yeah, we're officially here now. So all you cold weather complainers, welcome to your hell.
Thank you.
Welcome to your hell, okay? Bugs galore, man. But all in all, good game last night by the kiddos. But I say kiddos, they're teenagers, damn near adults teenagers at this point. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
They're getting there.
They are. All right, moving on. I don't like talking about them like that.
There you go.
The age part.
RJ's not taller than you. He's just always standing on a hill.
It's crazy how everybody likes to point that out, though.
That's what he is. He's just always on a hill. You're always on a slope. It's Dad's week. It's always Dad's week.
God, it's always Dad's week. That's why you my dog, man.
615-737-1045 is the number. Both of us at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park yesterday watching Family Day at Tennessee Titans mandatory minicamp. Vibes were good yesterday, and it did feel like the last day of school a little bit.
Sure did. It had little jersey swaps going on.
Yes, it did. Yes, they did.
You know who hate that the most? The coaches that got to watch the tape over again.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jim Wyatt.
Well,
Jim Wyatt knows the faces anyway. He doesn't need numbers.
Jimmy, too.
That's light work for Jimmy.
I don't think they're familiar enough to know players' body like movements and stuff like that, the way they move around the field. But
especially newer guys. So if you missed it yesterday, Chika Okonkwo and Mason Kinsey both decided to switch jerseys. So Chig looked a little bit different out there with Mason wearing number 85, and then you had Chika Okonkwo with 12 looking, again, a little bit different than Mason, and that sparked a lot of players to switch. Elikiah Manor and Tony Pollard switched jerseys. Josh Wiley and Tajay Spears, that was a funny one. Yeah. Tajay Spears grew about a foot.
Yeah, he did.
Wearing number 81, and I forget the other one. Calvin Ridley and Bryce Oliver, who had the best day of maybe anybody at practice.
Who was it that said the joke yesterday? It was like all he had to do was put on Calvin's number.
I think it was, I don't remember. I actually don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Somebody in the media.
Yeah, somebody in the media was just like, everybody's had an okay day. No, it's Teron.
Oh,
TD.
yeah. Teron. Yeah.
Well, they were just saying, like, look at the attitude, because I think it was Prochet that came to the sideline, like, shaking his head a little bit like it was one of them days, and it felt like it. It was like everybody feels like that except for
Bryce Ridley.
Bryce Ridley.
Calvin Oliver.
It's like all he had to do was put on 0 to start getting the football, right?
Throw of the day, play of the day belonging to Will Levis and Bryce Oliver yesterday, finding him deep down the sideline, about a 40, 50-yard touchdown. Bryce Oliver had a good finish.
Yeah, he did.
To minicamp, putting himself in good position heading into the summer.
I pushed back on the play of the day, though.
Really?
When we were in the end zone next to upper management.
Yeah, fair enough.
Who was it that caught the ball? I know it was Cam that threw it.
It was David Martin Robinson. On a touchdown over the middle. You got to see Cam Ward throw for the first time yesterday.
Yeah, it is. It's as advertised, is what I would say. I think we all who have laid eyes on Cam this time of the year probably got to walk back just a little bit, because it feels dirty, almost saying like, "Oh, this could be nice," because I feel like that's what the offseason is it could be nice season, you know. But I did notice it. He's professional about it. He's up, but not too up as it pertains to what happens on the field. The down moments, you never even notice them whatsoever. It's moving on is essentially what it is. Just like having an injured player that don't play a whole lot on the field,
sure,
and the coach says, move the pop, move the drill. That's the way I feel like Cam navigates a little bit more, as opposed to just being happy to be there. He's not happy to be there is the way I view him.
Huh.
Yeah, you've met those type of people. Ooh, this is awesome. Like, you can acknowledge it is, but some people are just happy to be there. I didn't think that was him yesterday, watching him.
He has a little bit of a different mentality, no doubt, and that shows up pretty quickly. And it certainly showed up yesterday when media had to wait just to talk to him. And we even asked him, are you punishing yourself for working so long after practice? He was probably throwing with guys for 30 minutes.
Was he really?
After the first guy started to matriculate off the field. There was no idea of, it's the last day, I don't really need any extra work. No, Calvin Ridley, Xavier Restrepo, Bryce Oliver, a number of wide receivers are consistently staying with Cam Ward up to a half hour after practice just to keep getting working and just play catch, essentially.
Man, it's one of those things where you don't want to have to think about being great, essentially what I think it is, Will. You know, they say to create a habit, what is it, like 10,000 reps or something like that? Like, I feel like that's what he's doing, and that's what he's teaching himself is, look, if I want to be good at this is a new football to me. This is a new team. These are new wide receivers. Everything is new to me. So for this not to seem new when I come back here, I got to create muscle memory as it pertains to my job and what I'm supposed to be doing. So I respect it, because you at my position, okay, you want to know who's one of the first ones out when it came time for minicamp? Your boy. Okay, I've served my cause here, Will.
Exactly, and no one would have blamed him or anyone else for just taking it to the house after practice.
I was trying to get back to Nashville so we can get packed up and go on a quick little vacation, man. Nice. So kudos to him. But I'll say this too when you bring that up. Isn't it what you want to hear about your quarterback? He's making the media wait. He's spending time with the guys that matter to him. And I'll get to y'all whenever I'm done with my work.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's certainly true. I certainly want that from him. I didn't love it as my skin was being burnt.
Yeah, we all got a little red yesterday.
No, I'm kidding. I don't mind. I don't mind being burnt, and I don't mind waiting, because it's not about us. It is about him getting the work in and us just being lucky enough to be there and talk to the guy. But it was a good final day for especially the defense yesterday, Ramon, who was better than the offense. And you can certainly tell just how personally I think they took Tuesday when Cam kind of carved him up a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
And plus, situationally, it sounds to me from watching him, from talking to folks, that Cam thrives just when you put the football down and play. And it's the situational stuff that's going to be the next step for him. Yeah. Red zone and third down. And Wednesday was third down, blitz day, and then yesterday was a red zone day.
I don't know, we'll talk more in it, so I'll save some of my thoughts until we get to that point. But, like, you could see the drive that he plays with. You can also see you can also see his influence on the team. Not that they're treating him like charity, but I've heard Coach Former say this probably one of the first time I've heard it. Like when you are the franchise quarterback or the starter in college, like the team has to be able to understand you, see you, feel you. You be a part of them more than anything. And I for the first time yesterday saw that. Like I said, you're the CEO essentially of the team. And like guys weren't falling in line, but you can see like the challenges being given out and how they respond to him and also challenge him too. Like it was kind of fun to see, Will, for a guy that's that young that seemed to be garnering that type of respect. And I will guarantee you this, a lot of those guys in that locker room probably didn't understand what Cam Ward was like during the season.
I think they get it now.
They get it now.
It was funny yesterday too. Did you see what Calvin Ridley put on Instagram?
I missed that one.
After practice, apparently, he and Cam played ping pong. They got a ping pong table in the locker room.
Yeah.
Cam lost, and the carnage of a broken paddle was all that was remaining from it.
Saw that. Broke the handle, man.
They put it on their Instagram saying, like, man, go take a shower and get back to me.
Yeah.
Take that L. Like, it was pretty funny. I think the best way I can describe the way I think Cam is wired is there's a little bit of Kobe Bryant to him. That guy playing Candyland would hate to lose. That literally anything in the world that you could be competitive with Cam Ward, if he loses, he is going to hate it. Hate it.
Yes, 100%.
I don't know what that means for this team moving forward. I don't know what it means for 2025, but at the very least, we know that Cam is the alpha competitor that we thought he was.
It was actually kind of cool because I've seen Troy Polamalu break up a ping pong paddle like that before, too. He and like guys like Trey Essex, which, I mean, he's a lineman. They used to go back. I'm talking about, Will, about an hour after practice, back and forth, full sweats.
I believe it.
Breaking paddles so much so that they bought their own paddles. Did you know how expensive ping pong paddles can get?
In the tax bracket of an NFL player, no, I do not know
there
how much
it is. Like
ping pong paddles can get.
They brought in some very expensive paddles to play ping pong with because that's how serious the competition got. But that's also the locker room when you have guys that are hanging out like hours or at least about an hour after practice is done. That's
what you want.
Yeah, that's what the team chemistry is built at also.
No doubt. 615-737-1045 is our number. Tons to react to as Titans mandatory minicamp week concludes. Brent Hubbs at 7:20, Ron Slay in hour 4 at 9:20. You'll hear from Tyke Tolbert, Titans wide receivers coach this morning, as well as inside linebacker Cody Barton. But coming up next, you will hear from Cam Ward, who was asked what he wants to work on, what he wants to spend time doing over these next couple of weeks until training camp begins at the end of July. Well, he wants to throw the bleep out of the ball. You'll hear him say that next.
Did you know that up to 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space? Think about that for a second. Have you ever looked in your crawl space? I get it. Most of us don't even want to know what's in there, but moisture in your crawl space can create unhealthy issues that can make their way into the air you breathe every day in your home. It's Ramon Foster, and this is where United Structural Systems can help you out. USS has been keeping homes dry and stable in Middle Tennessee since 1994, so you know they aren't going anywhere. Help control moisture and musty smells with mold treatment and crawl space encapsulation that comes with the USS guarantee. Encapsulation helps reduce high humidity in your crawl space. It also helps deter mold and mildew and protects your crawl space from pests and wood rot. Turn your crawl space into a healthy space, though. Reach out to the company I trust for foundation repair and waterproofing needs. Y'all know it gets very wet in Middle Tennessee, creates some of that instability around your home. But you can reach them at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Or call them at 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Friday morning, Ramon Will, 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins with you. So, Ramon, your first impression of Cam Ward throwing a football yesterday was what?
So your point about we spoke in the first segment about all his reps and stuff like that he's taking. Cam's a timing quarterback. And it's impressive, number one, on how he has his offense down so quickly with what they've given him and how he knows where he's going with the football more times than not. That's one of my first takes. Like, I wrote down, because you had the conversation yesterday with Gunnar Helm. And what did Helm tell you about Cam's delivery? He said, when Cam throws the ball, it's never too late or it's never too soon. It's either I'm late or I'm too soon on those routes.
Exactly. Says he's always on time. If I miss timing on something, it's because I'm too early or I'm too late.
That's on him. And to your point about the Kobe effect earlier, where he's probably going to challenge his teammates, look, I don't care if you're getting jammed up at the line of scrimmage. Get your you-know-what here, because this is what the offense demands, and this is where you should be at for us to be successful. I can see that being a thing moving forward. More than anything, because of how he operates in this offense. I was impressed by that, Will. And then also, too, his ability to throw those out routes to a spot to where only those guys can get the football.
Before the receiver has turned.
Dude. And I'm talking about, like, if he turns and the ball's supposed to be on the sideline in his left hand, if he going that way, that's where the ball was going. And to your point, before they turn their heads, I thought that was super impressive by him, man. And not just that, and he's young, and I'm sure there'll be some flair, and, he'll eventually do it his way.
Sure.
But even on the run sales, they look like the passing, right? When it's play action. When he's handing the ball off, he's doing everything that you want him to do.
Totally.
So the detail, more than anything, is there with what I'm seeing from him yesterday, man. I thought it was good from Cam, being a rookie, too. With that much. And then
doesn't look like a rookie, does he?
No, and they're also making plays. And I got to give it to all the quarterbacks that had the opportunity. They're also making plays with each individual group. And you were right when they're working like ones with the threes with the twos, and ones with the twos. Like, that is happening. And
it is.
Yeah, it's we'll see what happens in training camp, but that is happening, though.
We don't just have ones and twos and threes and 3.5s or whatever now. There's just players.
Yeah.
That are being mixed and matched. I think Cam just throws with such a tremendous level of anticipation. And, Ramon, you could speak to this, spending time around a lot of young quarterbacks. That is not something that's normal this quickly, is it?
No.
Someone who can throw a 10-yard comeback and the ball is there when the receiver turns around. Heck, we're still waiting on Will Levis to start doing that. Yeah. So I think the thing that excites me about Cam is that there are traits and attributes in him that you need to be a successful NFL quarterback but can't teach.
Yeah.
That I'm already seeing from him. Timing and quick processing coupled with the ability to throw with anticipation accurately and decisively. That is the really impressive thing so far. And we haven't seen a pocket really break down around him with pads on and with the fear of getting hit hard by an NFL defensive lineman, because that day will come. Yeah. But in the meantime, even his bad days, and yesterday wasn't necessarily a bad day, it just certainly wasn't as good as Tuesday was. I don't even know if it was as good as Wednesday was. He still finds ways to make some throws that just totally wow you. The floor of what a bad day is so far for Cam is still pretty dang good.
So it's fascinating you bring that up, though, too, as far as like his touch, his feel, his spin around, his turns, like with the ball in his hand. We were in the corner. I'll be as general as I possibly can about it. We were in the corner talking to some upper management with the Titans yesterday. Is that a fair way to put it, Will?
Sure.
We're talking to them yesterday, and I'm asking about the process and stuff like that. And this one particular person that's with the Titans said, man, I said it a little bit on 3HL yesterday. It's almost poetic, Will, on how this entire conversation, the action behind it happened. And this person was saying, man, whatever it is, he has it. And when this person finished saying that, we turn around and look at the field because they was in a red zone. And Will, what happened on that play? You remember it was Cam Ward hit a dot in between like two defenders to David Martin Robinson. And I was just like,
touchdown in the back of the end zone.
Like that? And that person was like, yes, I was just like, that's almost bleeping poetic and poetry on how you said he has that it thing, and then you see it immediately after he stopped talking. I was just like,
everyone you talk to in that building is giving you similar answers that they're just kind of waiting for the shoe to drop. Almost. It's almost like when you start going out with somebody and you just can't find anything wrong with them. And yes, there are things that he's going to have to improve on. He is not a perfect player. No. He threw 2 interceptions yesterday that we're going to talk about and had some interesting answers to questions in his press conference. I think that Brian Callahan maybe will want him to have different answers to later, and that's fine. He's a rookie, but there is just a really good honeymoon period.
It is,
to say the least, starting over there between Cam, this staff, and this organization.
That's the perfect way to put it.
We're still in it.
This is the cool honeymoon. This is the kickoff to the Super Bowl where the cameras are flashing and you hadn't even run the first play yet.
And
you
that's
are
great.
excited. Yes,
that's not a bad thing at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But I laughed though because there's been a few times you see people's like, man, that person's got a glow about them, and then as soon as they finished talking, he threw that touchdown. And it was amazing throw and amazing catch. So I got to give it to DMR on that one also. But it's what I will say, too, is this. For all of that is happening, to your point about the 2 interceptions, when you see him go side to side and stuff like that, there is the opportunity that guys like him that live on the edge, that want to make every single play because they've worked in their mind how this play is supposed to be executed, there's going to be a defender that pops up to pick you off from time to time.
Sure.
Yeah, that happened yesterday, too.
Cam Ward, after practice yesterday, talked with the media, talking about the trash talk element with Jeffrey Simmons, how much that motivates him, and how he will spend his time over the NFL summer break throwing the mess out of the ball.
Just work out, stay in the playbook, and throw the out the ball. So
we saw a pretty good back and forth with you and Jeffrey, I guess, on his first day back. What's that been like, and what's it been like kind of exchanging trash talk with the defense?
It's been good. I need somebody like that, especially somebody like Jeff who's going to let you know he's there. Every time he's one of the best defensive tackles in the league, if not the best. I'm glad he's on my team. I'm glad he's not one of the ones who gets a chance to get a free shot at me. But, I mean, I'm happy I'm playing with him. I know he's, excited about my future, but, I can't wait to get on the field with him on Sundays. I'm always locked in. Trash talk, it'll never mean nothing to me. It won't get to me in some type of way. I'm just somebody who likes doing it. And so what's the point of playing something that you love, you can't have fun with it? So, that's where it comes from. But, I mean, I love the game. And so any chance I get, to let somebody know that they can't with me, it really doesn't matter.
What I also hear there, Ramon, is that Cam's getting comfortable here.
Yeah, he is.
He is totally himself at all times.
We didn't hear that the first few weeks.
No, we did not. No, we did not. I think he might have been a little ticked off at himself, too, for throwing the 2 picks and the way the last practice went for the final few weeks, right?
Yes, 100%. And the other part about him throwing those picks and stuff like that, well, that was 7-on-7 breakdowns, and he acknowledged that ain't football. But what I do hope is this, man. Like, the offense got a new shiny toy. They do. And Cam Ward. And what's fascinating is this. I do hope the defense challenges the offense in a way to where the guys up front feel like they got to protect him at all costs. That's what I'm hoping Jeff does, too, because to your point about like Jeff getting through and getting to him, and that's a sack. I read Jimmy Wise write up, I think, yesterday. He was like, the defense of Jeff yelled out, sack, like Mike Keefe did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Well, you were there. You heard that, too. But in that, here's the part of the story for me. I'm hoping Cam has a reaction to where the O-line sees it on tape, to where they take more pride in saying, look, y'all, this is our ticket right here. And the defense is getting after him in practice. And because of that pride that we've been speaking about, who's going to step up and be the dog, be the jerk of the offensive line, I'm hoping that they take a sense of pride in protecting him, even in practice where, Jeff, you need to cut that bleep out. All right? Like, not fighting them because Jeff loved to fight, okay?
Yeah, right.
But what my point is, like, when you got a guy like him, all hands off. No matter the scenario whatsoever, and I'm hoping that he pushes them in that matter.
It's the kind of quarterback that gets a little bit of security even around the facility from his offensive linemen.
Yeah, 100%.
Cam Ward is the tone setter of all things good that are happening over in that facility, and everybody's walking around with their heads a little bit higher and their chest puffed out just a little bit more on the team.
Yeah.
I won't speak for coaches or executives or whatever else, because I do think there is an understanding there that this is going to take some time. I don't think you're going to hear Brian Callahan go on a bunch of interviews or podcasts or series to pump up Cam Ward the way he was Will Levis this time last year. I think there are probably some lessons learned over there in that building from the public tour they did to prop up Will Levis as the franchise quarterback this time last summer. But I do believe there is a quiet confidence that they got the right guy. And that they've been proven right. And I don't think every organization feels that way, even after mandatory minicamp, about the first-round pick. It is not a guarantee in June that you feel proven right about the decisions you made and turning down a king's ransom from the Giants to pick this guy. I think in that facility, everybody over there feels like, yeah, we feel pretty good. We feel like we made the right decision. Don't know what that means for 2025, but the Titans got their guy. And everything now is about making Cam Ward as good as you possibly can to open up a window for you to be competitive as a franchise.
And I think that's the biggest part, is to be able to open up that window to stack on top of. Yes,
100%.
100, man. But again, to your point, too, about that first year, like, you can still have the guy and he have some bad moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing that gets you as far as, like, the belief in a person is, for every bad moment he makes, he's probably going to have two that makes it up for it. Like, there's been times before Ben has had, my quarterbacks have had bad games where it's just like, today isn't his day. And we got to be able to run the ball, support him, because when it comes down for him to have that clutch gene, and I do think that is a thing too.
I do too.
You know he's going to show up. And that could be, probably 2 interceptions, man, a fumble, and only 125 yards or something like that on the day. But that minute and 13, and you got to go have it and got to go win it, you feel confident in having guys like that behind center and your quarterback.
It's the ultimate equalizer in football.
It is.
And it is a sport where you can be worse at 75% of the positions on the field, but if you're better than a team at quarterback, you can steal some games. And that is where we talk about this rebuild. We talk about a roster that needs to be replenished at edge rusher, at corner, at swing tackle, at wide receiver with experience that just isn't there. Cam Ward has the ability to raise all of that to a level of competitiveness that we did not see last season. And that is the difference between average, bad, and even really bad in the NFL is quarterback. I mean, all these rosters are good.
Yeah.
It's why on any given day, a winless team can beat an undefeated team. It's why before Washington even had Jaden Daniels, they're able to beat Philadelphia. There are results every year that make you scratch your head and say, how in the world did that just happen? It's the NFL. But it takes one quarterback getting hot against one defense that might be a little banged up, or one defense that isn't that good, in order to win you some games you're not supposed to. And that's what this season is about. Who can you jump up and scare? That way you set yourself up to go into the final year of Nissan Stadium and open up new Nissan Stadium competitive.
Dog, I 100% agree with you on that one. That's where it's at more than anything.
Cam gives them a chance to punch above their weight immediately.
And those types of guys right there make everybody else better, too. And we spoke about, like, trying to get the best out of dudes like Calvin, or even a dude like Traylon, right? Or we got questions about if Van Jefferson can be the guy. Well, a quarterback can turn a guy into a better player, right? I think we look at a little bit of Van Jefferson's best season he had with the Rams, and of course with Matthew Stafford. Like Stafford, you know what I'm saying, can make that. I think the shining of Cooper Kupp probably dimmed his light a little bit more, because that became his go-to guy. But stars are made, I think, because of relationships between the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. And not just that, it creates Pro Bowlers out of everybody else, because if we can pass the ball around, that means we're probably able to run the ball a little bit too. So then your guys up front get more notoriety. And then on top of that, they make the defense better, because that's one of the best players in the league that is making and challenging you day in and day out as pertains to practice. Like, it is such, like, I get it now. I legitimately get it. Why, when you have your guy, and there's a need for it, and the Titans had a strong need for a quarterback, right? And you're thinking to yourself, and even I was on this conversation, this train, is Cam the best guy in the draft? That was my biggest thing. If you're picking number 1 overall, is Cam Ward the best guy at the draft as far as, like, what he was rated and graded? And my answer was no. But then you say to yourself, well, if you get your guy at quarterback and he has that and he fits your team, well, the trickle-down effect of having your guy and the passion that he plays with, it makes everybody else better. And that's the point of why the quarterback holds about, 20 25, 30% of the salary cap when they get paid.
And it's why teams consistently reach and take risks by taking quarterbacks when they have the number 1 overall pick.
I don't even blame them as much anymore. Like, I can understand Indianapolis's idea that Anthony Richardson can be that much different.
Sure.
And be an X factor that no other team has. But sometimes you shoot yourself in the foot.
Well, and I think, too, so much about it is not just picking the right player, but that's just the beginning of the process.
Yes.
When you get a job, you don't automatically celebrate or mourn the fact that you either are or aren't good enough for that job. It's up to your people around you, and it's up to you to rise to the occasion and make the most of it. And that's the thing I keep going back to, in that you and I both were in the don't draft Cam Ward camp.
Yeah.
There are multiple ways to skin a cat. There are multiple ways to have success in this league. Picking the guy does not just automatically set his identity. Now it's up to you to make the most out of him. And that is something that this organization has failed to do with previous quarterbacks, and whether that be injuries to Marcus Mariota, whether that be Will Levis and Malik Willis maybe having a development path that was thrown into the fire a bit too quickly for their own personal success. The Titans feel like now they have time to wait on a quarterback to improve at the rate that is best for him. The last 2 guys that were drafted here did not get that luxury because they were not brought into full rebuilds. Malik Willis was brought in a situation where you felt like you had Ryan Tannehill for a couple more seasons. Well, then ultimately he didn't play well enough to warrant a long-term investment. Will Levis in the same situation. You bring him in because you felt like, our succession plan at quarterback didn't work. So now we got to start a new one in real time. Hey, and by the way, our roster is still good enough and expensive enough to where we want to compete. We don't want to just tank for a draft pick and all of these things. And then one thing leads to another. Levis is bad enough, and you hit the reset button again. Like, both those guys could have benefited from a different kind of development for them as individuals. Titans didn't have time to wait, though, and play that game. Well, now they do. Now you can bring Cam Ward along more slowly and give him time and not just expect him to immediately lead you to 8, 9, 10 wins, which also means that your coaching staff's probably totally safe.
No doubt.
This season as well, and you're not going to stun his growth with a new head coach after one season.
And to your point about like having that time and stuff like that, so I see a comment in our YouTube chat. By the way, if you listen to us on our radio, you can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Okay, Will told y'all that earlier. But Eric said Anthony Richardson couldn't really throw the ball. He was basically SEC Malik Willis. Now, I will say this. You can say that, but the way they evaluate tape and the traits that they look for, well, I won't lie to you. One of the best games I've ever seen live was 2022.
Florida, Tennessee. For both Hendon Hooker and Anthony Richardson.
Do you remember?
They were both outstanding in that game.
If I'm Anthony Richardson, I'm walking around with that tape.
Yeah,
y'all gonna watch me duel, man. And I thought he played lights out.
But Richardson's size compared to Malik, there is there's no comparison.
No.
And arm strength, they're not the same quarterback.
Just totally different athletes.
Joe Milton is Anthony Richardson.
Exactly.
But not Malik Willis.
But the way you saw him play, like somebody planning, to your point of planning for the future and being in a position where you can let them grow and develop, like that version of Anthony Richardson, that dude is an all-pro. If he could ever get to that point, but he's got injured, stunted his growth that way, and then he checked himself out of a football game and probably changed the perception of him moving forward.
Honestly.
Like, but I get the understanding of why you go after the guy. Sometimes, to your point, you said a second ago, overdrafting him. So I'm fascinated to see what this does. I will say, too, on the defensive side of things, you can see where they have depth. You can see the way they're attacking. Denard Wilson, it was already vocal, but he's very vocal with the secondary. And Jarvis Brownlee had a few good plays yesterday, too, man. Another quick tidbit of mine, too. Tony Pollard, he can hit that corner still.
Yep.
He can hit that corner, man.
Tony Pollard has not shown signs of really slowing down. No. Again, pads aren't on. It's early, but it's at least a continuation of how explosive and how strong he looked last season, at the very least.
Yeah.
He's picking up where he left off.
He's picking up where where he left off for sure, man. It's that time of the year, though. Let's dial it back. It is the hope season right now. Everything is good because every team is healthier. Their guys are getting healthy for training camp, too. There's been no negatives as of late. So this is it's a good place to be. It's better that than to say, what in the heck are we doing? Or we miss a right tackle, we miss a left tackle, we need this guy.
And to be fair, they have gone out and they have invested in guys who have a habit of being healthy.
Yeah.
Everybody's healthy. It looks good right now. Well, they get credit for that too, though, because they invested in a lot of free agents and a lot of young players who they felt like give a crap.
Yeah.
And they felt like have that leadership capability and durability physically as well. 615-737-1045. News in college sports out of Knoxville yesterday. The answer on Zakai Zeigler's lawsuit to try to keep playing college hoops. We'll talk about it next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. When the heat rises outside, your home's air conditioning shouldn't let you down. The Lee Company team is here to help keep you cool and your system running at its best with award-winning AC services. Whether you need a quick repair, seasonal maintenance, or want to upgrade to a new unit, Lee Company gets the job done right. Available 24/7. Schedule your visit today at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com. Trust the folks who have over 80 years of experience here in Middle Tennessee. I love partnering with local businesses as a Nashville native. Lee Company, they are as local as it gets. 14 community locations here in Tennessee, in Kentucky, in Alabama, 1,700 plus employees. And those vehicles with the Lee Company stickers, you see them driving all around Middle Tennessee. That's because they've got 1,000 vehicles in their fleet, which means when you call them, they're going to be there quickly to help you out. 615-567-1000. That's the number to call, or online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. Right back at it. Ramon Will, 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee, Ramon Foster, and Will Bowling. News that was expected, Ramon Foster, yesterday, but still not good news for Tennessee basketball fans and Tennessee athletics. So in May, Zakai Zeigler filed a lawsuit seeking a fifth year of eligibility from the NCAA. Yesterday, his preliminary injunction was denied. NCAA responding to Ziegler's initial motion by requesting a federal judge to deny the former Tennessee point guard's preliminary injunction. Evidently, the judge adhered to the NCAA's motion. In his lawsuit, Zakai Zeigler and his team says the NCAA's rule that permits 4 seasons of eligibility within a 5-year window is an unlawful restraint of trade under federal and state antitrust laws. The judge disagrees. Zakai Ziegler's time at Tennessee is officially, Ramon Foster, over.
Done. It would have been awesome to have him, but I think he knew it was a pipe dream to actually try to have that go through.
I think so, too.
You had to shoot your shot. You had to. Considering, I mean, we're talking about his valuation of probably a 7-figure deal, probably will this time around.
He said $2 to $4 million was what his market value was for this upcoming season.
All right, so the real question is there anybody that's going to give him that just off the strength of who he is?
His people said, too, that he was going back to Tennessee. He was promised a spot on the Tennessee roster.
Yeah. Well, life moves on, man. And the way you look at his situation is it's too late to actually cry right now, if that makes any sense. But what I'm saying is this. It was his chance to take a long shot at getting that ruling for himself. And I personally think he would. Just on the basis of all that he's done. I think if he had like a couple of injuries where he would have been out, I know he had the ACL and stuff like that, but if his career, I feel like, feels fulfilled more than anything. Yeah. He was a guy that come from JUCO and like, you know what I'm saying, like Diego Pavia, it made sense to allow him to have that role, but his situation wasn't necessarily like that.
I think it's probably for the best. To be quite honest with you, I think for the NCAA.
Oh, for the NCAA.
If you give Zakai Zeigler a 5th year, then you're giving a lot of guys 5th years, and you are also taking away some roster spots for guys who probably were already promised roster spots. Like it would have opened Pandora's box in a way that I just don't think was going to be best for the whole of college athletics.
Yeah. If that's the case, I most definitely want to go back, Will, for my 5th year of playing.
Hey, same.
Yeah.
No.
For on 5th year playing. But again, Zakai is fulfilled too as a 2-time defensive player of the year. Like he's made all SEC.
Right.
He's checked every single box. And I think that's one way to look at his situation as opposed to saying you were like done wrong in this. No, I don't think Zakai was. He was just trying to take advantage of the ruling. And to the other part too, like, who's carrying the water, if that's the case, too, for the growth of everybody else, meaning on the team? Like, I do think Rick Barnes and this group has to figure out what their role is, and I think, to your point, Zakai somewhat, I don't want to say he slows it down, but, like, the next phase for the Tennessee Vols will be in one spot because Zakai is there. Now, he helps a lot.
He does.
But you do want to see those other guys behind him. And as much as a fan I am of this being okay, I do look at it for the people that have kids that are going into college that want that scholarship too, and Zakai's played that much.
Exactly.
Like, it kind of ruins it for the ones that want the opportunity.
Well, think of it this way. Zakai Zeigler might never have been given a roster spot on Tennessee's team if guys like this were just magically given a 5th year at the end of their careers.
Yeah.
We might never have gotten a Zakai Zeigler at Tennessee if there wasn't an opportunity for him to come in, get better, work, play, and be a 4-year player for Rick Barnes in Tennessee. That's the reason why this is good for college athletics. I hate it for Zakai, who I think still had a pretty good ending. He took Tennessee to 2 straight Elite Eights, where they only had 1 in their time as a program. And he was ranked as a top 25 team, Tennessee was, every single second that he was on campus, which is pretty unbelievable. But that, I think, is the thing about all of this that gives you a little bit of like, even if as a Tennessee fan, all right, like a little bit of credence to say this was the right call. We would have never gotten Zakai Zeigler had he not had a chance as a freshman to earn minutes. And there are freshmen now that, instead of Zakai Zeigler, need to go earn minutes on this roster and many others.
And then also, too, you'd also had another case with Jordan Gainey would have also lobbied for this, too. You brought up a point. I know we could probably have an hours-long podcast. We asked Brent Hubbs that question that you just brought up a second ago. You said, in this era of basketball and college sports and football in general, Zakai wouldn't have gotten a chance because of how he came out of high school, the opportunities for him to play early, just on the basis of there would have been another senior or junior in front of him. I think of another guy right now that probably wouldn't have gotten a scholarship in this era. And that's Inky Johnson. Heck, it could have even been myself in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Or I probably would have been, forced to transfer out because look, I'm never going to play here at this university because you have to wait your turn. I mean, well, you don't have to wait your turn. They go find guys to put in front of you. So I know there's a long list of guys in my era that probably wouldn't have made it to campus.
I mean, truly, we have talked about that a lot with Brent and with Austin, that Zakai Zeigler is a dying breed.
Yeah.
A 4-year player that plays all 4 seasons, that doesn't go pro, that doesn't flirt with the transfer portal and loves the brand and the university and the school as much as the fans do. That's not going to be as common anymore until you have some level of buyouts or multi-year contracts or collective bargaining that encourages loyalty for players.
Right. And
the current system does not encourage loyalty.
We're watching right now in real time, Lady Vols. Have you seen it? Landon Robbie. She was having the time of her life. The dream is what she was saying. Now she's at Texas Tech.
Oh, the Taylor Panel is the girl, the third baseman for Tennessee.
Taylor. That's what it was.
Taylor Panel has just entered the transfer portal with a do not contact tag, and the rumor and reporting or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, that's out there is that she's going to Texas Tech.
Oh, she's committed.
Oh, she already committed. Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's posted.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah, that was real quick. Third base, All-American third baseman. For the
interesting.
softball team.
So a do not contact tag and then an immediate commitment.
Yeah.
They must have had a lot of really quick conversations about NIL dollars and money and negotiation. Like, surely they were never talking before that.
No tampering, right? Absolutely no tampering.
And look, everyone's doing it. I'm sure there are people for our teams that are doing it as well. It is a part of it.
And I'm glad you said that, too, because I think there's a lot of Vols fans that are probably in her mentions saying stuff and going at her. But I'm thinking, no, y'all. We can't do that. Not because I'm sympathetic to the threats and, the ridiculing that she's getting, but we're doing the exact same thing.
I'm sure.
In some capacity. It is happening everywhere. This is the normal way of operating now. That is a quick check, though, too. I would say that.
Yeah, it is. I think the part of that is going to become really interesting is the fact that schools now have to pick and choose what they want to be great at with their revenue sharing dollars. And you are going to have schools like that who will go all in on maybe 1 or 2 non-big 2 sports. And I do mean big 2 because in terms of the dollars, 90% of your money as a Power 4 program is to men's basketball and football. What I think is really interesting about that, Ramon, is the men's basketball programs that have FCS football. I'm thinking of St. John's, Villanova, schools like that. Yeah. UConn, who do they have football at UConn?
Yeah, they do. Well, that's the point.
No, exactly.
That's
I'm joking. Jim Mora Jr. Yeah, of course we did. But anyway, I don't think UConn's going to spend 75% of their dollars on football when they've got such a juggernaut basketball program, men's and women's.
Yeah, like Rutgers in that spot. Like they 100%. Teeter on football, but like basketball, look what they did in recruiting this year. They got like potentially 2 like lottery picks.
Because baseball is one thing.
Yeah.
Baseball's not profitable. Men's basketball still makes you a lot of money. And that is what this is about. And it's one thing, yeah, of course, there will be baseball programs that can the Cal State Fullertons of the world have a little bit of a rebound if they go all in on baseball. Yeah. Dallas Baptist is a great example. All in on baseball and not really dabble in football as much. But those are the schools that I think are most impacted by all of this are the men's and women's basketball programs that don't have great football to take away a lot of that money.
I'm laughing and smirking over here because you made the point on who argues what. And I heard 3HL, I heard Savage speaking about it the other day. What does Kentucky do?
It's a great question. It is a great question. And I also think Mark Stoops' days are numbered because I think he doesn't want to know what the answer to that question really is.
And that's the point. Because they had a little spat, was it 2 years ago now? About who was more
John
important?
Calipari, Mark Stoops, about basketball school, football school.
Yeah.
Because even at Kentucky, the football team pays for a lot that the basketball team gets to do.
100, but the basketball is the history.
Basketball is very profitable as well. I mean, they're making money, but at the end of the day, the revenue of a bad football team at blue blood basketball programs still dwarfs what the basketball program has going on. That's the case at Kansas. That's the case at Kentucky. It's pretty incredible.
And especially in this world where the SEC has, I mean, look what Florida's done. Look what Auburn's done. Look what Arkansas is doing. You don't think Kentucky's basketball coach is asking for more than, let's say, Tennessee's asking for in football, in like basketball dollars, or South Carolina's asking for in basketball dollars.
Yeah,
like,
how many coaches out there do you think feel like they have what they need?
how many?
I don't think there are a lot of coaches out there in all of college athletics who feel like they have everything that they need to win championships. I think the Texas Tech softball coach is one of the few, to be quite honest with you.
UConn women's basketball.
I think
probably.
Gino Ariema is probably
Gino
one of, but even him, like he's losing people to South Carolina.
Oh, is.
He's losing people to USC. Like, I think you could count on like two hands the amount of coaches in all sports that feel like they have everything that they need to be successful.
Think about how good LSU's women's basketball team is, and how Kim Mulkey is saying she's got 7 All-Americans over there.
Mm-hmm.
She's not satisfied.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's maybe what? Steve Sarkisian? Ryan Day? I mean, James Franklin is saying in the media now, I feel like there's a level of investment we've never had in the staff because of who his offensive and defensive coordinators are now with Andy Kotelnicki and Jim Knowles.
Ain't many, Will.
The BYU basketball coach probably feels like he's got what he needs. Like, again, not that many coaches out there who you feel like aren't going to their administration with their hands out asking for more.
You know who's going to have to invest in a whole lot of aspirin and BC powder? It's chancellors and presidents, because they're about to get badgered. I'm talking about just harassed by these coaches.
It's a tough time to be an athletic director in college athletics.
Yes, it is.
At any level.
ADs,
At the top level, at the mid-major level, at the D2, D3 level, it's a challenge. 615-737-1045 is our number. Our number 2 when we come back. Catching up with Titans wide receiver coach Tyke Tolbert about throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. Different roles within the offense. You'll hear that next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Are you headed to warm weather vacation spots this summer? Are you headed to the beach, to the pool? Well, I'm here to tell you, you might benefit from water-resistant hearing aids. Maybe you're just going outside to that outdoor wedding, social gatherings, family reunions, all the things we catch up on when the weather is nice this time of year. Well, you might benefit from hearing aids that significantly reduce background noise, enabling you to hear and understand conversations. Brentwood Hearing Center can take care of that for you. Their doctors of audiology offer the latest hearing device technology, including a water-resistant hearing aid that will help you hear in those situations. You want to hear about this great technology, the best technology on the market? Give Brentwood Hearing Center a call today, 615-377-0420. Their doctors of audiology understand there is no cookie-cutter approach to better hearing. They will tailor a hearing solution to meet your needs. 615-377-0420, online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. Brentwood Hearing Center, better hearing, better life.
It is 7:02. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Titans wrapped up mandatory minicamp yesterday, and rookie quarterback Cam Ward spoke to the media yesterday after practice about his plan for the break and what he feels he needs to improve on before training camp.
Just work out, stay in the playbook, and throw the out the ball. So being just comfortable with the protections. It's not even the base stuff. It's the checks I can make, the checks I have to get out of. But that's gonna come over time. I'm excited for it. Coach Bo, Coach Callahan, they be getting me right, and so I'm ready to get back to working next month with the team.
The Titans will break for the remainder of the offseason until they have to report back for training camp on July 22nd. Last night, Stanley Cup final drama continues with Game 4 as the Edmonton Oilers come back from 3 down after the first period. They beat the Florida Panthers 5-4 in overtime thanks to Oilers center Leon Draisaitl's NHL playoff record 4th overtime goal. The series now tied up at 2 games apiece and shifts back to Edmonton for a crucial Game 5 tomorrow night. And in golf at the U.S. Open after round 1, American J.J. Spaun is the leader in the clubhouse, going 4 under par while shooting a record 31 in the front 9 and holding on the rest of the way to card a bogey-free round yesterday. Only 10 players after round 1 shot under par. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into hour 2 this morning. Happy Friday. Wherever you are waking up around Middle Tennessee, we are glad that you have decided to wake up with us. You don't have to just be in Middle Tennessee to enjoy Ramon and Will. You can head on to your smart device. That is Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch to stream us on 104.5 The Zone TV alongside Vol Network analyst, an 11-year NFL veteran, Vol for life, Raone Foster. Justin Hawkins, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. We will be joined by Ramon's Vol Network teammates, our good friend Brent Hubbs of All Quested on 3, coming up in 15 minutes. Ramon, we got a closer look at Titans wide receivers yesterday, in addition to seeing Cam Ward throw for the final time before the summer break begins in the NFL. What did you think about the wideouts? Who impressed you yesterday?
Who impressed me? Calvin, to start with. I thought was pretty good. Watching him do work was pretty unique, man. And I did think, even though Prochet didn't have, a great day. Oh, yeah, no, Prochet did. I thought he was available a whole lot.
He's
yesterday.
quick, isn't he?
He's very quick. Mm-hmm. In and out of his routes fast, man. That next 4, I guess, wide receivers that they're going to have to find or figure out who make this team is going to be challenging, to say the least. I do absolutely think that Prochet, has a solid chance. Van Jefferson, also, bigger than I thought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, Will, that shocked me. I thought Van was probably 5'7", 5'8".
Oh,
no. Oh, absolutely
He's well over
not.
6 feet.
Yeah, man.
He's a big dude.
Seeing his size, too, and the potential of what he can turn into, Chad and Coach Callahan and Borgonzi got a hard decision to make, dog, for real.
I think Zakai Zeigler really impressed me over the past few weeks, and watching him go to work. I think Xavier Restrepo puts himself in a really good position. I think they're waiting for more from Chimere Dike to continue progressing at the rate Zakai Zeigler has so far. And I think there is a lot of mixing and matching different options. So catching up with the Titans wide receivers coach Tyke Tolbert yesterday, I asked him about that, of how do you use this time to not just pigeonhole people into one spot, either outside or inside, but keep your options open a little bit. And you hear Tyke Tolbert, Titans wide receivers coach, talking about that here.
I'm big in just, you can put a number on guys all you want. We're going to need them all. So however that translates into, if you got the guys considered 1, 2, or 3, at some point in time, if you know this offense, we have a lot of 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers. So at that point in time, they're all number 1s. Whoever's on the field, that's how I see it. They're all number 1s because you never know where the ball is going to. You can scheme for things for certain guys to get open, but at the end of the day, they're very good players in this league. Guys are trying to scheme to keep them from catching the ball, so other guys have to step up and play. And so, in my mind, they're all number one.
This time of year, how much do you try to experiment with guys in different spots? Like, how set is Tyler Lockett or Jim Dike into one spot, or how much do you want to try to throw things at the wall and see what sticks this time of year?
Your last phrase, throw the wall, see what sticks. That's kind of what the spring really is for, to move guys around, see what they do best. Now when we get to the fall, we can tone it down a little bit, say, okay, based on what we did in the spring, this guy does this best, this guy does this best, and we can do it that way. But right now, everybody's learning everything, moving all around, so which is good for this time of year.
It's Tyke Tolbert, Titans wide receivers coach. It is, again, the added context as to why it is hard to look at stats or look at the amount of passes completed or incompleted or dropped this time of year. They are trying a lot of different things and seeing who sinks and who swims when they're thrown into the deep end. And whether that's Tyler Lockett being a slot for now and then maybe being an outside receiver if they feel like they have options at slot, whether that's Elikiah Manor getting an opportunity to play inside, Van Jefferson being outside or inside, Bryce Oliver, you name it. There is far from, I guess, consistency right now in terms of where a lot of those guys are lining up, and that is by design.
Yes, and the other part of it, too, is not just specializing in one thing. Like you said, they want to move guys around and somewhat make this offense unpredictable as far as the defense goes. Like, and that's what's super fascinating about like the guys that they've brought in. Like I've heard coaches use the term like a one-trick pony. I don't think there's a one-trick pony per se in that wide receivers core.
And I think they're always going to be like that too.
Like I don't look at like Xavier Restrepo as being a guy that's down the sideline, right? Like I don't see that being his role. But like as far as like you only having a speed guy, I think they do have route runners. Yeah, I think they got guys that are very position flexible. I think they got guys that are willing to play each spot at the wide receiver position, which is why Coach Tolbert is saying those, Tyke Tolbert is saying those things too, is they got to figure out what works best for the offense. And I do think there's a method to the madness of not having just a set 1, 2s, and 3s, making and forcing guys to be in position where they got to work with each other because, like I know, they'll get a turf toe quickly. And then you don't want the cohesion of your wide receiver group to be thrown off because those guys aren't used to playing those spots and in those positions.
Wide receiver is one of those positions that has a high injury rate too.
Yeah.
In terms of explosive, fast twitch athletes whose soft tissues often flare up.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not doing enough running over these next 5 weeks before training camp. And then there's the element of just being over the middle and getting hit, where you are in a high collision contact position while also challenging your own soft tissues and just being at a full sprint quite a bit more than some other positions on the field. And corners are the exact same way, exact same position.
I also can understand, too, why the attraction to keeping eyes on Xavier Restrepo. Like, I didn't mention him in my...
Yeah, what'd you think about him yesterday?
Bigger and thicker than I thought as it pertains to his size. I looked at him like he was slight. That's what I've thought about him, because you see people on tape, they don't look like what you see him in person to be.
He's not Kyle Phillips.
No, he's not Kyle Phillips.
He's not Adam Humphries.
No, he's not.
Those are the last two slot specialists we've had here who are much, much smaller.
Yes.
Just as people.
And also Tyler Lockett. I can see how his durability, I'm not going to wood as I say this, but I can see how his durability has lasted so long, too.
Yeah, he's taking care of himself really well.
He works out, and you can tell that he and Xavier Restrepo, to me, are both fit that mold. It's like, no, these aren't like slight bird-chested guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
They are actually developing themselves, and if you are smart at their stature, like, you do have to be in a position to where you make yourself durable, and that is adding some muscle. Like, so I was impressed by seeing that from him. He moves quick. He looked like he was born to play football as far as Xavier Restrepo goes, and just his demeanor is very business-oriented. We were around practices, and Will mentioned that it was Family and Friends Day yesterday at practice, too. And his folks were around us for a little bit, and you can see them, like, very intent on him. But it's exciting watching him do work for a guy that's been as heralded as he was coming out of Miami, who's still undrafted.
You just can't ignore the level of production he had at a blue blood college football program.
Yeah.
And the amount of good wide receivers who've gone there and been successful NFL players who are behind Xavier Restrepo on some career leaderboards and single season records.
And speaking of that group, too, the detail in which they were working with throughout practice was pretty legit. Like, they're working on very situational movements, very specific to the game plays and scenarios, the way that, they were doing some stop and go stuff. Like, it was very fascinating watching them be able to navigate. It looked like a drill that was like, where's the window? Like, it was super cool watching them do that type of stuff, because that's the type of stuff that allow you to score touchdowns on game days or to never quit on the play.
Sure.
Coach Tyke Tolbert was on his job yesterday, man, for my first time seeing it with that group. And everybody's working, too. It's not like anybody's sitting out of a drill. Like, everybody's up first and specifically doing things that will relate to the job week in and week out.
Well, and you can tell, too, that guys like Calvin Ridley are enjoying coming to work every day right now.
You see that.
There's a lot of positive momentum and energy and just overall vibe in that wide receiver room. And you don't win football games based off vibes.
No.
There are a lot of people that are happy to come to work right now that won't be very good football teams this year. And unfortunately, this might be one of them for the short term. But you feel like there is something building and growing for the long-term sustainability of what Titans football is. And that starts with the way Cam Ward and his wide receivers are getting a lot of extra work in and are continuing to communicate and just be engaged in everything that's happening. Calvin Ridley is not just going off to the side and just hanging out by himself as practice is going on. He's jumping back in and out. And because there's not just ones and then twos and then threes, they're mixing and matching a lot right now.
Yep, 100%. I tell you what, though, Will, going into year 10 or 11 for myself, Coach Bill Callahan would have had me retired.
You would have been in the Sadiq Charles kind of pathway.
I wouldn't have copped out.
I told you, I don't know how people enjoy practice with Bill Callahan.
It's not an enjoyable thing, man.
No.
I'm watching them dudes, man. Like, there's a breather given to the wide receivers, to the tight ends.
Here we go. Woe is me on the offensive line.
The offensive line has to do the drill, has to serve as a person on the other. Like, it's a young man's game.
And then run to the next thing.
And then run, and then also have a defensive lineman breathing down on you every single play.
Exactly.
Oh, my Lord.
615-737-1045. We shift gears to Ramon's new Vol Network teammate and our very good friend, Brent Hubbs of All Quested on 3, with a ton to discuss on Rocky Top next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. If you've been looking for cars and you see the words buy here, pay here, maybe you have looked elsewhere. Most of those dealers have bad reputations, but I'm here to tell you there is one place you can go with the best reputation in the area, Nolensville Road Auto Mart. These guys are different for a few simple reasons. First of all, they've been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. As a local, means something to me, right? And it probably does to you as well. Nashville natives that only sell clean title cars under $12,000. So if you're new to town, you want a place to trust, they've got you. Maybe you need that first car for the new driver in your family. They can do that too. 615-242-1279 with one location on Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane. Nolensville Road Auto Mart will get you in and out in an hour or less. Simple, easy, flexibility, transparency, and honesty. It's why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Give them a call at 615-242-1279. Ramon Will on 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned Scooters location near you. In Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. As we continue hour 2 on this Friday with our very good friend Brent Hubbs of All Quested on 3. Brent, it's been a minute since I've been here, Ramon's been here, and we've both had the chance to talk to you in the same room at the same time. Feels like the crew is back together this morning. How are we doing?
I'm doing better. I was late to the bean patch this morning. I went running in it this morning like Raone Foster and Coach Fulmer's flying Bambino drill. So I got myself settled in here, and I'm picking some beans and talking to you guys this morning, talking some Tennessee ball, talking some college football and recruiting, and it's good to be back with everybody. Hope everybody's well this morning.
I love it. We're having a great Friday. A little bit better now, obviously, as well. So, Brent, with big recruiting visits continuing for Josh Heupel in Tennessee, I know the big headline, one of the big headlines of many this weekend, LSU wide receiver Tristan Keys going back on campus. How good of a chance do you think, Brent, Tennessee has to make a strong impression there and maybe have a chance to flip the elite LSU commit at wide receiver?
Well, I mean, they're obviously getting him on campus, and he's been here multiple times. He surprised everybody by committing when he committed, and everybody knew he was going to take all of his visits still. So it's not a shock that he's coming to campus. He's clearly open. I think having Faison Brandon here, the quarterback, the two know each other well. I think having him this weekend to help recruit him is a good thing as well. They've got a chance. Is it a great chance? I mean, it's as good of a chance as you can hope for. I don't think he's ever been just a stone-cold, absolute lock to LSU. I think there's always been that possibility of a guy who could flip, and certainly Tennessee's been in it with him for a long time. So Tennessee's as good of a candidate to flip him as any other school in the country is.
Zion Gibson, another big-time commit for Alabama at the corner position, expected to be on campus. And just, Brent, maybe from a broad perspective about this class, where is the primary focus in your mind for this staff, for this class specifically? What are some of the kind of premium positions you feel like they're prioritizing this time around?
Well, I mean, I think you're always looking for defensive linemen and edge guys. I don't think there's any doubt about that. You're certainly looking for that position. And I think you're looking for elite skill guys. You know, if you can get an elite skill guy. I mean, Chris Stewart's supposed to be in town. He's a Texas commit. You know, are these guys really interested in flipping, or did they commit so early and then they haven't taken trips and they haven't really gotten love, and so now they want to get some love? That's what you're always trying to figure out. But, you know, nobody uses all their official visits, so it's not like you've got to sit here and go, well, man, I'm not sure we can bring him in because we may run out of visits. You bring everybody that wants to come in, and you see what happens. And I think skill position guys is important. They need to go in the safety spot as well. And then I think you're always looking in the line of scrimmage. And here's the thing. It used to be that when you look at a recruiting class, you say, okay, we need, 3 safeties this year, or 2 safeties, or, man, we're deep there. We only need 1 running back, or we only need 1 of this. In the day and age of the transfer portal, you really don't have that kind of number. Like, you're just sitting here looking like, okay, I mean, taking the best available. If we come up short of the position, we'll hit it in the portal. But we're going to take the best available guys out there because you're really not deep enough at any position with the way kids are moving around right now.
We're joined by Brent Hubbs of All Question on 3. Hubbs, man, we got us all in the party together today, man. Let's go. With that being said, man, Tristan Givens is an edge guy. It seems like Tennessee's going to try to be DNU, if that makes sense, man, with the talent that they're trying to get in. How are they sitting with a guy like Tristan Givens right now that's being recruited hard by a lot of folks?
Well, Coach Chop's done a really good job with him, got a really good relationship with him. I think that's got Tennessee deep in the middle of that one. Obviously, some schools have been throwing some NIL dollars and talking NIL. Now, what's those conversations like with the House settlement coming forward remains to be seen, kind of how everybody's going to play that. But I think that, this is a situation where Coach Chop has done a really good job recruiting him. And as a result of that, they're going to be in the middle of it. I think A&M is going to be in the middle of it. Washington's been there. I'm not sure he's going to go that far from home, Ramon. Yeah. I think A&M is the other school you're ultimately going to try to beat out for his services.
Just to revisit a little bit of last weekend, Darius Gray, man, how did that trip go for him in a recap of the 5-star offensive lineman, man? I know Tennessee is very hard on right now.
Yeah, it went well. I mean, it went as well as it could be expected. He is certainly aware of David Sanders and kind of David Sanders' journey and his path. Darius is going to be a guy who needs to add a little weight. He plays very much technique more than he just is brute force, brute size brawler. Now, Darius is an inside guy, and obviously David's an outside guy, but similar approaches to the recruiting process. And, we'll see. I mean, the question is, what's the price tag going to be on that one? What is that going to look like? He's at LSU next, but he's been to Tennessee a bunch of times, and I think Tennessee's put their best foot forward there with him. And him spending a lot of time with David Sanders last week was a really smart move by Tennessee, because I think the two personality-wise meshed well, because there is a lot of similarities to their journey and kind of who they are as players and kind of the way they go about playing the game. And, he's looking at David. He knew David before David signed with Tennessee. I mean, David's 25 pounds heavier than he was when he got here, and is moving right on up to the 300-pound line. And I think will be somewhere between, 298 and 305 probably when fall camp opens, which is where he wants to be. And Darius is looking at that development physically and is taking note of it, because he knows he's going to have to add that weight wherever he goes as well.
No doubt, Hubs. Also, too, man, how much better, and I don't want to say it's easier because I know there's a lot that goes into recruiting, but how much better is it recruiting with a class that has a 5-star quarterback in Faison Brandon? I feel like he's been committed so long, and I don't want to say we've taken advantage or just overlooked him a little bit in this process, Hubs, but how is this recruiting class built, shaping up with him, and also his value to this recruiting class?
Well, I think they absolutely have overlooked him. I think fans overlook him because they're always looking for the next new thing, and not necessarily at the quarterback position, but this School X is getting our commitment, and where's our commitments, right? And Faison has been in the boat for a long time, and he's been very loyal and very solid at Tennessee. He's been on campus a bunch. He has been working the phones. He's not just been talking to receivers. He's talking to Darius Gray, and he's talking to the Baker kid from up in Baltimore, the other offensive lineman Tennessee had in last weekend that I think Tennessee's in really good shape with as well. So he's working. He'll be working J.B. Shabazz this weekend, who's another tackle that they're going to have in. I think Faison has been very assertive in trying to help recruit, not just in person on weekends or unofficial visits, Ramon, but I think also working phones, text messages, Snapchat, and all the things these crazy kids do these days.
So Vol Nation, get behind Faison. This is a 5-star that's been committed for. This doesn't happen either. I don't know if he's taking any other commitments elsewhere, Hubs, but I just wanted to point that out because I feel like when you're around too long, people just forget about you a little bit, and this is a big deal for the Vols to have him committed.
Well, and that's why guys start taking visits, because they look up and everybody they know's on, a trip, or they're doing something or getting a love here and there. And Tennessee's done a really good job of staying fully engaged with Faison. But, yeah, Tennessee fans, listen, I saw Faison camp what would have been his sophomore – after his freshman year going into his sophomore year, which is the camp he got an offer at from Tennessee. And, man, he was fun to watch. Young guy, and you thought, man, it's going to be fascinating to watch him develop and see how he develops. And he came back the next year and camped again, and he was a total different player. I mean, physically, arm strength, everything about him had changed, and he had filled out his frame, and, man, he threw the ball just terrific. Great accuracy at camp. He's one of the best quarterback camp workouts I've seen a guy have. It just looked effortless for him. And, it's been fun to watch him develop and to see how he goes. And I think he's going to be a fun quarterback to watch at the next level, and Tennessee's in obviously, good shape with quarterback. I mean, you're talking about, right there from Nashville, George McIntyre. I saw George this week. George has put on almost 20 pounds, and he's really starting to fill out. And he's not going quietly in tonight in this quarterback competition as well. So it's pretty good times at quarterback for Joey Halsley in Tennessee right now with what you're looking like in your room and what you look like is coming into your room in December.
No doubt.
Well, Brent, you led me into my next question about the quarterbacks, and it's a question we will likely ask every Friday with you until Tennessee plays Syracuse. So for our June 13th update, Brent, do you feel any more confident about who takes that first snap in week one based on the work that's already being done and the work that Joey Aguilar is putting in to get to know his teammates and get to know this system?
Well, I've said on the record that I think it's going to be Joey. And the reason I say that is because he's played. And I think for Josh Heupel, a guy who's got experience in a game, I think is something that is going to matter to Josh and is going to stand out to this coaching staff. When you're going on the road, you're playing a Power 5 opponent. Now, I mean, he's got to go out and perform that, and he's got to perform in fall camp. And that's where this thing really gets real and gets going. I think all those quarterbacks have done a good job with the receivers, working their relationships. They're all throwing with them on a regular basis. And I've talked to a couple of receivers. They say there's not a ton of difference in terms of catching a ball from those three, that, it's not like one's left-handed and the other two are right-handed and everything's, different or opposite or anything like that. They feel like all three of them throw a really catchable ball. Joey spent a lot of time in the film room, and George has spent a lot of time at the nutrition bar, and Jake Merklinger is continuing to work on the grip on the ball and improve his throwing mechanics. And, those guys are going to try to show their best each and every day. It's going to be a fun competition. I know, fans like to know who the guy is, but it's going to be a fun storyline to watch and see kind of who does what in scrimmage settings. And they're going to scrimmage. Tennessee scrimmages a lot anyway, just 11-on-11 work to end practice. But the value of that 11-on-11 work this fall camp is going to be different than it has been in previous years when you've had established quarterback play. That work that they do at the end of every day of practice, I mean, that'll be 30 scrimmage snaps a day that basically they'll have. They won't just be putting the ball down and going and playing because there'll be coaches on the field, but they will scrimmage a lot with these guys because they've got to see them. The more traffic you put on the field, and Ramon, you've seen this. We've all seen a quarterback. Yeah. You watch him throw routes versus air, and you go, yeah, okay, he's not bad. And you watch him, one-on-ones, okay, 7-on-7s, and that at that point it starts to change. Guys either get better or guys get worse. We've seen the routes on air guys who are beautiful, and it looks like it's perfect. And then you see those guys when it gets 11-on-11 and the field gets cluttered out there, they don't process well enough. So you want to test those quarterbacks as much as you can from the processing standpoint. Who's making the quick decisions? Who's making the right decisions? That'll be what fall camp's about.
Brent, Marion Hobby back home in Knoxville, a big addition to this Tennessee defensive staff. What value can he bring, and just how good is this defensive staff specifically, Brent? I don't know if the even fan that is really into this can even wrap their head around just how many experienced coaches are on that defensive side of the ball specifically, and the recruiting ability, all that put together, Brent. You've got to think that Josh Heupel feels pretty good about the assistants that have been put together on that side of the ball.
Well, I think they've had a tremendous offseason in staff additions. I mean, I really do. Now, they've only had – of course, we use the term full-time assistant. Everybody's a full-time assistant. They're like 20 full-time assistants now. I mean, it used to be – now you only have 8, and then it went to 10. I mean, everybody's a full-time guy. They can all be on the field coaching. And I think when you look at what they've brought in from special teams, Seth Luttrell on offense, but then specifically on defense, I mean, Marion Hobby is basically the same age as Rodney Garner. They grew up 14 miles apart.
Wow.
And they've got, combined, there's 60 years of experience in coaching between those two guys, coaching defensive linemen. And, I think Marion Hobby coaching in the NFL, being a coordinator at different points in his career, recruiting ability, just the resume, just the wealth of knowledge that he can give when he talks to kids, I think is really important. Rodney Garner really wanted Marion Hobby to be a part when Robert Ayers left to go to Tampa Bay. That was the only call that was made was let's go get Marion Hobby. And, it wasn't a friend deal. They're friends, but it was let's go get a guy with this kind of experience to help develop kids individually and as well as in a group. And then I think, I don't think enough people talk about what they did in the back end with Alan Williams, who was at one time a coordinator for the Vikings and then a coordinator for the Bears. he's coaching the safeties at Tennessee, and Tim Banks is being allowed to be a walk-around guy. Tim's never been a walk-around coordinator. He's always had a position group, and now he's a walk-around guy. You see him much more hands-on and getting involved in defensive line drills or linebacker drills and safety drills. And he's seeing it from a bigger picture as opposed to just the safety viewpoint and individual drills and things like that. So I think both of those hires on defense were really good pickups for Tennessee. And, again, I think I hate it for young kids who are trying to get in the business because it's a little harder right now to get started because everybody's taking that analyst role and go get a retired coach or go get a coach who's in between jobs or a guy who's looking to finish out his career, who's got a wealth of experience, and go coach with them because it makes you a better staff. I think Tennessee's defensive staff is better going into this season than they were a year ago because of the additions that they've made.
Hub, so you're expecting a lot from this fall. If I could just ask you that, man, is it one of the young tight ends this year, or do you see a guy just jumping out onto the scene like Joshua Joseph that can really take themselves to the next level? Do you have anybody in mind, man, before we get into the thick of training and putting a whole lot of muscle in men of summer posters and stuff?
Well, I was going to say you, because, I mean, all the expectations are on you this fall. I mean, don't drop the ball, Ramon.
I know, man.
I think it's a great question. I really do, because who is that guy that's gonna pop, right? Yeah. And sort of be the next guy. I mean, I think it could be Joshua Joseph. I think he's highly motivated. Can he finish at the quarterback better? That's his goal. That's what he's been working on extensively. It's got to be one of those receivers, doesn't it? I mean, when you look at where they are, somebody's got to emerge there. Mike Matthews, Chris Brazzell, Braylon Staley. I don't think enough people are talking about. I'm kind of bullish on him in the slot if he can stay healthy. For me, for this team, outside of the quarterback, which is going to be a given that everybody discusses, I think it's got to be one of those skill guys at receiver. Somebody's got to emerge there and kind of be wide receiver one for this group. Who's the go-to guy for a quarterback? Who's that guy you can throw a fade down the sideline to like you could Cedric Tillman in that first year under Josh Heupel? I don't know that we'll see a Jalen Hyatt, but who's a guy who can get behind the defense? I mean, they've got to have somebody emerge at the receiver position. So it better be one of those guys who really takes off. Defensively, I'm going to go with Joshua Joseph. I think the defensive line had a good year last year, not a great year. I think they affected the quarterback. They didn't finish at the quarterback the way they need to. Their sack numbers was not where it needs to be. That's got to improve, and I think that's got to be where Joshua Joseph really steps up and helps at that Leo position. And then you're hoping Caleb Herring can help behind him, and what does Jordan Ross look like, and some guys there. But it starts to me with Joseph. I think Joseph is a guy who had a nice year last year, probably wasn't talked about a lot, but he's got to take another step in finishing and not just affecting the quarterback. He's got to finish at the quarterback.
Also just forgot about Arian Carter, a.k.a. Train. I'm expecting a lot from him, too. I'll throw him in that bunch.
He's got to lead.
Yeah.
He's got to lead. Yeah. And it's not just his play, but he's got to be the voice.
Yeah.
He's got to run that defense. He's got to get everybody lined up. Everybody's got to follow him. He is the alpha of that defense. And I think great defenses have an alpha. And I think that he has got to be the alpha. It was going to be Keenan Peely last year, and then he got hurt. And I think they lost a little bit of that. Like, who was their voice last year? And Arian Carter's got to take the reins and run with that. He's got to be the voice of that defense this fall, in my opinion.
Brent, on the way out, how motivated is Tony Vitello in the transfer portal and recruiting right now? I know he is not someone that rests at all. And as a college coach in 2025, how can you either? But how much momentum do you see right now for Tennessee and the transfer portal with some of these big-time targets it's had on campus?
Well, Tony loves to recruit, and his staff loves to recruit. I mean, they really do. And a year ago, again, baseball's got its own set of issues. We talk about football and the transfer portal and all the problems, and from a timing standpoint, the baseball one's a mess. And the challenge for baseball is, what's the roster number going to look like? How do you manage your roster number? And then you got to go out and get the best players available. And listen, Tony Vitello is motivated. He's always motivated, but he's clearly motivated at this point to get his roster where he wants it, continue to grow with his roster. And build around a core group of guys who'll be back next year, and then supplement it, add it. They need left-handed pitching. They need a power hitter. They've got needs. He knows those needs, and they're going swinging hard because Tony Vitello does not like being home this week. I can promise you that. So highly motivated would be a good way to say it for Tony Vitello.
He is Brent Hubbs, joining us Fridays at 7:20 here on Ramon and Will, bringing us the latest out of Knoxville. Brent, great stuff as always, sir. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Hubbs.
All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all. Have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. Brent Hubbs bringing us the goods this morning from Knoxville, brought to you by Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. Lots to catch up on in the world of sports, where we have spent a lot of time, Ramon, over at St. Thomas Sports Park talking Titans. Let's get you a little bit of hoops, a little bit of golf, maybe a little bit of a Hawkins hockey minute after a thriller in the Stanley Cup final last night. All that for you coming up next.
We've got a huge announcement from Two Rivers Ford. Just in, Two Rivers Ford is now offering employee pricing for everyone. That means you pay what they pay on almost every new Ford on the lot. And at Two Rivers Ford, what you see is always what you get. They don't do things like add expensive accessories or tack on service packages to increase the price of vehicles. Absolutely not. Two Rivers Ford is upfront and honest every single time, and now they're offering you employee pricing. There's no better time to buy American. There's no better dealership than Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years. Home of the non-commissioned sales team also, and now home of employee pricing for everyone. From America, for America, Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Ramon Will on 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you. Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. Game 4, NBA Finals, Pacers and Thunder this weekend, Ramon Foster. And if people are out there looking for a reason to care about these NBA Finals or about this series, just become a Tyrese Halliburton fan. Mm-hmm. What he is doing right now is very, very, very fun to watch for Indiana.
Yes, it is, man. And again, more than anything, it's not going to be boring. It's not going to be like the pace is up high. The fouls, what is a foul? You know what I'm saying? Like,
who's to say?
Who's to say at this point, man? Because it is fascinating as heck, man. Y'all need to tune into that. There's good stuff going on a Friday night.
It's good basketball.
Yeah.
At the moment, it really is. And if anyone should care about small market teams, it is Nashville, who is a small market team for National Football League, mid-market, I should say. We're not tiny, but we're also not the New Yorks or LAs of the world, of course. But Tyrese Halliburton, what he's been able to do right now has been really fun. In the last game that Indiana won, in Game 3, the Pacers bench outscored the Thunder bench 49-18. This is beyond just Halliburton. It is still team basketball that you're watching in a significant way right now. And Oklahoma City's got to get this one. Favored by 6.5 in Indianapolis tonight.
I got to check with Savage, see what he going to do with that one.
Well, he'll join us at 9:20. So
yeah,
that's
well,
good.
there it is. There it is, Will. But like, legitimately, it's good ball. And I thought that was the separator in what was that, Game 3 that they just faced? Game 3.
Yep.
It was the bench play. Like, the way Indiana plays, like, they will run you up and down the court. And I feel like the starting five that Oklahoma has is in a position to where they can't keep the pace, or at least spread the fouls out also.
Sure.
And you're having the ability to let Tyrese Halliburton sit on the bench. I thought going into the third, they allowed Tyrese Halliburton to sit for a while, and he gathered himself and got rejuvenated to a fact that he became very effective the way he runs around and free himself up for those open shots and drive and stuff. So it's good, man. Siakam also.
Yeah, Pascal Siakam.
Is, I don't see how he moves like that and how he hoops, but it's good.
He's a long dude who can move.
Oh, my gosh, he can move.
In the U.S. Open, carnage yesterday. We expected it for many superstars. J.J. Spaun continuing to lead at Oakmont at 4 under. Brooks Koepka already through 5 this morning. It gets started very early up there in Pittsburgh. He is 3 under in second. I think Brooks Koepka is the favorite at this point of the U.S. Open, considering a who's who of guys who are over par after Thursday. Scotty Scheffler 3 over. Bryson DeChambeau is at 3 over. Masters winner Rory McIlroy is 4 over. Shane Lowry is 9 over. Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas, both at +6. Justin Rose +7. Sepp Straka +8. And Bryson DeChambeau yesterday saying, the rough is incredibly penalizing. Says, even for a guy like me, I can't get out of it some of the time, depending on the lie. It was tough. It was a brutal test, but one I'm excited for tomorrow. And the guys that went in the afternoon had a little bit of an advantage yesterday, unless your name was J.J. Spaun. So interested to see those guys go early today and see how they fared. It is total carnage at Oakmont. If you want to just cheer for the course and watch it, you can have that allegiance and you will have a blast.
No doubt, man. By the way, too, I was at the barbershop yesterday.
Where are you?
I had somebody tell me, it's like, listen, I don't know if you were playing up the hockey minute or what. He's like, but it was very informative to me also. I was like, see, I was telling J-Hall. This is like, he made it very understandable for folks like me that don't understand or watch hockey as much as, others do.
Well, let's do that hockey
excited.
again. The Hawkins Hockey Minute on your Friday morning. What you got from last night?
Guys, it happened again.
What did?
The over. I've told you. 4 games now. Hit the over. It does it again. 9 goals last night. Man, what a thriller. Just like last year in the playoffs in the Stanley Cup final, the Florida Panthers go up 3-0. They went up 3-0 in the first period last night. But guess what?
What happened?
Oilers responded in the second period with 3 goals of their own, tie it up going into the third period. Each team gets a goal apiece. The Florida Panthers tie it up with about 19 and a half seconds left in regulation, sending it to overtime. But, guys, I told you, the Florida Panthers in Game 3, the way that they had a key to the game to win that one, shut down Draisaitl, shut down McDavid. They couldn't do it last night. McDavid had key assist in the game. Draisaitl 3 points with a game winner. His 4th overtime goal of the playoffs, which set an NHL record last night. What a thriller playoffs this is. And I'm telling you, if you're not a hockey fan, this one will get your juices flowing. You don't even need coffee this morning, guys. This gets your juices flowing.
Or if you're up late watching it, you might.
That is awesome, man.
5-4, the final last night for Edmonton. A 2-2 series going into Game 5.
See, if y'all had to listen
to Edmonton,
if y'all had to listen to the Hawkins Hockey Minute, then y'all have Christmas paid for already, or that summer vacation.
I'm telling you, man.
You have been saying it. I'm listening. You said it, like 3 times in a row now. Bet the over. Nobody's listening.
You got to do it. Look, Game 5 tomorrow night in Edmonton. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. Central Time. Guess what? Over-under is at 6.5 again. I'm not even going to say it. If you're not doing it, that's your own fault.
If you like U.S. currency, Justin Hawkins implores you to bet the over in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final.
Here's a little statistic for you. This postseason, the Panthers are averaging 4 goals a game. Dang. The Oilers, 3.95. There's your over right there.
I'm going to be honest. I've gone to hockey events and it ends in like 1-0, 1-0, I guess. Like me seeing 4 pucks go into the net, that's money. Like that's worth this money right there.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you. Look, the Edmonton Oilers, they play at a very fast pace. Connor McDavid is
it's fun to watch.
He's probably the premier player right there. He's up and down the ice. He takes it. How long's the length of ice? Do you remember?
I think it's like 1,000 feet.
What? No, it's
1,000 feet.
Yeah. Whatever. Okay. Well, if it was 1,000 feet, Connor McDavid is the best at it.
Yeah.
The Florida Panthers have the best forecheck in the game, but Edmonton has the best player in the game. It's a hell of a series. And going back to Western Canada tomorrow night, I'm going to give the edge to the Oilers just because they're on home ice.
Sure.
Yeah.
But, what a series.
Leon Draisaitl last night, the 3rd player in Stanley Cup final history with multiple overtime goals in a single series.
Crazy.
Joining Don Raleigh in 1950 with the Rangers against Detroit and John LeClair in 93 for the Canadiens against the Kings. Pretty dang good.
Sounds like a good time right there, Willie.
615-737-1045, the number as we roll into the second half of the show. Got the chance to catch up with Cody Barton yesterday post-practice. I've got a take about him and his defense. Ramon, something I feel better about today than I did at the beginning of the week before mandatory minicamp. But we'll talk about that next.
It's Ramon Foster for Secure Lawn, man. I'm here to tell you, Secure Lawn is a company that you want to call. If you want a company that will be there for you year after year, it is Secure Lawn, man. They're not getting sold to a bigger company that's going to upcharge you more prices because they can now. They've squeezed out all of the local folks. Absolutely not. That's the one thing I do love about Secure Lawn is, man, they're family owned and operating. They're local. They've been here at Service in Middle Tennessee for over 20 years. Yes, their kids live in our community, man, attend our high schools and state colleges. And here's the cool part, too. They don't make you sign any kind of contract. If you're ever unhappy with a service, they will do whatever they can to make it right. And if you're still unhappy, they will give you the money back on your last treatment. This is just unheard of customer service, too. And their main goal is this, is to provide you with the prime service that keeps you a lifelong customer. What does it mean? It means having their techs come out and provide you along with the right fertilizers there and care that it needs to have it the best yard in the neighborhood like mine is. I posted a simple video to my social media the other day and had somebody compliment on the grass from just a simple picture. Well, shout out to Secure Lawn for that. Hear me out. They protect all types of grass and they service residential, commercial, and even athletic fields. So go ahead and get a head start on your yard. And yes, it may be for the fall, but I promise you this is a company you need to call or reach out to. Their number is 615-893-8455 or go to securelawn.com.
It is just before 8 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans wrapped up mandatory minicamp yesterday, and head coach Brian Callahan spoke to the media about Cam Ward and what he learned over the last 3 days. Titans now break for the remainder of the offseason until they have to report back to the facility for training camp on July 22nd. Tonight, Game 4 of the NBA Finals, the Indiana Pacers hold a 2-1 series lead and host the Oklahoma City Thunder in Indianapolis. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder are the 6.5-point favorite again tonight and looking to avoid the 3-1 hole when the series shifts back to OKC for Game 5 on Monday night. Tip-off for Game 4 tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC. And in golf at the U.S. Open at Oakmont Country Club, American J.J. Spahn is the leader in the clubhouse, going 4 under par in round 1 yesterday. He will tee off later this afternoon. Round 2 underway today. Brooks Koepka is 1 under on the day through 5 holes, pushing to the top at 3 under par. Koepka is 1 shot behind Spahn at the moment. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Friday morning, Ramon and Will, brewed by Scooter's Coffee, into hour number 3 on this gorgeous morning. I know it's gloomy outside. I know it's going to be humid, hot this weekend. If you woke up, your feet hit the floor, you're having a beautiful morning, especially if you're starting that morning here in Middle Tennessee. 615-737-1045. How you jump in. You stream the show live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Talking a little bit about the Titans' defense, Ramon Foster. I feel better about one area of this defense today than I did entering the week.
Where is that at, Will?
I think Cody Barton's pretty decent in coverage. I think the reports, the analysis, the PFF grade, what have you, about Cody Barton simply being a see-ball, hit-ball linebacker.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just going up against a rookie quarterback. Maybe it's early. Maybe I want him to be a better coverage linebacker than he is.
Right.
But I don't think I'm overreacting to this. I think he is going to be just fine in coverage, to be quite honest with you.
I'll tell you this, he doesn't look nervous in coverage. So we're watching him yesterday. He drops the way you need him to, man. He's in a position that he needs to all the time, too. And what's been good in coverage, right? It's been good in coverage, simply mirroring your man because he knows that, too. I know he used to be a smart guy also, just on the basis that, one, he got this deal here, but secondly, he also learned from a bunch of veteran dudes that was in front of him, too. Like, he's a guy that, to your point, to where you want to be in a position that you grow into a starter, that was him. That was him. And not, when you're in that position where you got to be good in the classroom to stick around a good bit, because we spoke about it a little bit yesterday. Like, he didn't really start playing until year 4, right? So a guy like him had to be a teamer to understand the game, but also be good enough in camp to where he can be serviceable. His first few years in the league, his combined tackles were 23, 35, 37. Like, this guy played a role for his team for a while. So in that, you got to become a mental magician more than anything. And then the other part of it is, like, yes, he's probably going to have some passes called on him, but it's the idea that he's in position to make a play. That's where it's a separate, and that's what we saw yesterday, at least for myself. He's in a position to always make a play where he's got to be more smart than he is athletic.
This was Cody Barton post-practice yesterday talking about some of those things he feels like he is improving on and the terminology of not only playing in this defense, but also calling this defense with the green dot.
Being here and calling the plays, it's the biggest thing was just getting comfortable in this defense. And, people don't realize when you have the mic, every coach has a different way they say things. And Coach Wilson, has a little bit of an accent, different from where I'm from in Utah, a little twang to it. And so, at first it's a little different to get used to, but just hearing that and just being able to be comfortable with the guys and build that camaraderie and that chemistry with the guys. And so this is just, a foundational part of the year. And, I feel like we've taken it pretty far where we need to go, and then in camp it'll just keep going from there.
You surprised to see that ball arrive? It didn't seem like it was really, you weren't defending it, but you were defending space.
Yeah, the one back there? Yeah, just one of those scramble plays to where, I'm kind of the middle of the field kind of defender, and just, I didn't, in the past I remembered, hitting a couple where he'd scrambled and came back across the field with it. And so I was running, I remembered that, so I just sat. And usually you sit and they try to throw it back across the grain, good things can happen.
Is there something you're doing to kind of goad quarterbacks? Is that something you work on when you're trying to kind of, in those situational plays, get a ball to come to you? Is there something you can do with that?
Yeah, we work on an individual with our coach, with Coach Bush, but, a lot of it's just a feel thing. Yeah. And, most quarterbacks aren't gonna look one way and throw a different way. There are some that do it, and Cam got me the other day. He was looking here and came back across and got me. But, it's really just a feel thing, you know what I mean? Just instinctual, I don't know.
Yeah, I got you.
A lot of linebackers are known for their ability against the run. How much pride do you take in being the full linebacker that can do those things against the pass?
I take pride in it. I think, I remember I did an interview maybe a month or two ago. And I remember early in my career, I struggled at the run, and I made it a big emphasis, to improve in the run game, and I'd always excelled at the pass game. And so, there's always things, I nitpick myself, and so there's always things I look to improve on, but, I feel like my game is, getting to a level to where, I'm starting to rise, on both ends of it, run and pass, and so, it definitely helps being able to be a 3-down backer or 4-down backer and be able to stay on the field all you can, and just make plays on both phases of the ball, whether it's run or pass.
That's Cody Barton, Titans inside linebacker, talking to the media yesterday. Ramon, in his mind, he's been a coverage linebacker. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. That's the part of his game that gets knocked, I think, as he comes here to Nashville. Well, for him, it's actually the run defense side that he's wanted to improve upon. He feels comfortable in coverage, and he showcased that with his second pick of the week on Cam Ward yesterday.
And just hearing how he diagnosed that play, too. Like, legitimately saying, I remember what Cam did on that play. Also, if Cam's smart, he's already been seen in that little technical part right there on how he decided to make plays. But that, again, is always to the point, though. I was about to call you savage. That's always to the point.
So I know you're comfortable talking football this morning.
That's the point, though, too. It's like guys like him don't make the same mistake twice. You build on the things that you've seen. You start to break down your own teammates in that mode to make you a better player. So, like I said before, when he said that about Cam, as far as I remember he did this the other day, I pointed to my temples like that's a very cerebral play. A lot of the plays that you make in the NFL or just in football or sports in general is not about your ability. It's about your thought process and your smarts on how that player expose his weaknesses to you. And Cam has done that to him, so he didn't beat on it again. It'd be foolish of him. But to your point about him being able to drop back, guys are confident in their abilities more times than not. Mm-hmm. And I think you hear that with a guy like Cody Barton. And it's a matter of, to be quite honest with you, 1 or 2 plays being made to where your reputation changes. And that's why I think a guy like Cody Barton is he's not afraid to be in space. You hear him say that, but it really does amount to us in the media or the people on TV calling Charles Davis, calling the games. Oh, there's Cody Barton with a pick or a breakup. That's how your reputation changes right there more times than not. It's not the idea that he can't do it. He's very comfortable in that role.
I feel good about him in that role. I feel good. I feel, maybe not good. I feel better about the linebacker position today than I did Tuesday, going out there with an open mind to watch them for the first time. I feel like Cody Barton is going to be an upgrade for them on what Kenneth Murray was a season ago.
To be quite honest with you, Will, I know this is just getting into the weeds and the details of deficiencies and strengths and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of who is a premier pass defending linebacker. Fred Warner?
Roquan Smith, right? As the most athletic guy maybe at that position.
Athletic. I've seen Roquan have his deficiencies at times, too. And I'm not saying that because he's a Raven, but I agree with you. He's one of the best ones to do it. Him, Fred Warner. And how many times are you putting those guys in that position to be up against a Kelsey of one of those Kittle-type guys? And the other part of it is are they going to bet 1,000? No.
Right.
Do you want him to break up 1 or 2 passes if he's got 5 targets going to him? Absolutely. Now, if you're telling me those those 3 catches that he has is like for 50 yards, I live in that world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's very relative in it to where you don't want to see him getting exposed the way I feel like it was last year with Kenneth Murray. Now, that's bad.
They struggled to defend passes over the middle of the field last season.
Yeah.
The best graded coverage linebackers in the NFL last year. Fred Warner, number 2. Local product from Centennial High School, Tyrell Dodson, 3rd on this list. Oren Burks, Vandy guy for Cincy, 4th. My guy Neville Hewitt, who's still out there, top 10, 76.8 for Pro Football Focus in terms of coverage grade. Number 1, a guy that easy. We didn't mention him, but easy. NFC East.
NFC East.
Guy that burst on the scene last year.
No, not Micah.
Philly. Zach Bond. Zach Bond.
He didn't even come across.
90.9 coverage grade last season for Pro Football Focus. The analytics and numbers loved what he did last season.
So you mentioned 5. Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. And one of them is unsigned right now.
Yeah. Neville Hewitt, 76.8, top 10 in the NFL. Your guy Peyton Wilson in Pittsburgh, top 10 on that list as well.
I mean,
and we knew with Peyton Wilson coming out of NC State with his injury history, if he could just stay healthy, there was no doubt about how good he was going to be at the next level.
Absolutely. I see Dustin put in there Patrick Queen. I don't think Patrick Queen's a great coverage guy.
No, he's more of a run stopper.
He's a run stopper. Roquan's in that guy. Where is he on that list if you still have
Roquan's down a little bit, but he's still, I think, kind of middle of the road. He gets a 62.6 grade. Nakobe Dean is another guy who I think gets thought of with that. You just think of the athletic sideline to sideline inside linebackers. And again, but we've talked about this before, that Pro Football Focus's way of navigating how good of a coverage linebacker you are is a bit flawed, because if a screen hits, that is credited to you as the inside linebacker not stopping that screen. Well, that's different from an evaluation perspective to, say, covering a tight end or being in zone over the middle to take away a slant to the slot receiver. Like, that's a different kind of playing defense than stopping a screen, which is almost more like run defense. The ball is just starting in a different position versus being handed off in the backfield.
And see, my thing behind that catch, though, is how good of a tackler are you? Like, does it bleed over? Like, those screens turn into 15 yards after the fact? Like, that's the part of it where I want the linebackers to be really good at it. Because, again, expecting them to be DBs, like, we bring that up a lot is my point. But, like, what you want, Will, is the same thing we're asking from the offensive line. Be average. Bro, compete. Like, at least make the catch hard for them, because that's the other part of it. Like, receivers are good in this league. Tight ends also. That's the point of it for me for a guy like Cody Barton.
I still think they could add another linebacker. I still think Neville Hewitt would be the guy to add still.
Yeah.
But considering Otis Reese is not 100%, still dealing with a little bit of an ankle from last season, and it's James Williams and Cedric Gray right now battling for the spot next to Cody Barton, I think they could use one more experienced linebacker in the next wave of free agency. And there is another wave of free agency that's coming, because there are a lot of players out there that don't feel like they need mandatory minicamp and did not want to contractually put themselves in position to have to practice this week. Now that this week is over and that summer break begins and you're not needed till July, those players may be a little more inclined to put pen to paper now.
Yeah, 100%. It'll probably be about 2 weeks before training camp kicks off for the rest of the league.
Exactly.
Yeah, that happens, man.
Best example of that was DeAndre Hopkins.
D-Hop. Facts.
Did the same thing.
In Baltimore now, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Wow. Shout out to Bert.
615-737-1045. How happy are you with Cam Ward's progression so far? Is the Titans rookie quarterback ahead of schedule? Is he on schedule? Could he be behind where you thought he would be? We'll talk about that next.
Upgrade her diamond ring this summer with no money down and 0 interest for 5 years. Don't miss this killer offer from Genesis Diamonds. 5 years, 0 interest finance until the year 2030. Not just on engagement rings. They also are on earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstones, pre-owned Rolex watches also. Buy now, pay nothing down, and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. So that $5,000 gift comes out to just about $85 a month. And that luxury pre-owned Rolex starts at only $150 a month. This is an insane offer from the jeweler that's always finding ways to bring you more value. All GI certified diamonds are also included in this. Rounds, princess cuts, ovals, pear shapes, cushion cuts, emerald cuts, whether you diamond or a $50,000 diamond. You can spread your payments over 5 whole years. Lab-grown diamonds are also included in this. You get the Genesis value price on anything. Pay 0 down and spread your payments over 5 years. But hurry. This is a limited time offer, and this ends June 30th and will not be extended. Genesis Diamonds are located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Ramon Will, 104.5 The Zone continues in hour number 3, 615-737-1045 on this overcast Friday morning in beautiful Music City. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, and Justin Hawkins with you.
You know
is
what?
Streaming the show live at 104.5 The Zone TV. What's up?
You know how I know it's baseball season?
How's that?
Rain. It's supposed to pick up as soon as the game starts today. It's from 12 to 6 today will rain, man. So
there's probably a cloud over the fields at about 12 to 6?
Easily, man. And the entire weekend, so I'm not sure what system's coming in. I know he was coming back from break right there, but I was just looking around. I was just like, yeah. I went outside, told you to smell the air for a second.
Oh.
It's thick. It is moisture in
One of those
here.
you can smell the rain coming?
No, you can.
Okay.
The Woo girls are probably going to have on plastic bags this weekend, man. It's supposed to rain all weekend.
Hate that for them.
Right. Tidy up a little bit, man.
There you go. So Cam Ward is in a good spot, Ramon. Entering the summer break, he tells the media yesterday he is ready to throw the mess out of the ball. He talked about a number of things yesterday that we're going to get to here in this conversation. Is it fair to say, Ramon, that Cam Ward is ahead of where you expected this time of year, or is he at least right on schedule? What stood out to you watching him yesterday?
I would say, because of his personality, I think he would say right on schedule. That's why I feel like he would say, but I do think he's a little bit of ahead right now, though, to be quite honest with you. Seeing how he's operating the offense, how there's no hesitation in the decisions that he's making and stuff like that, his level of being comfortable too with how he's going about practice, how he's moving around, how he's delegating guys. We saw him on one play yesterday, man, roll outside of the pocket and try to delegate a guy to block for him and stuff like that as he was attempting to run. Now, that's something I'm sure a lot of this fan base does not want Cam Ward to be doing, is running outside of the pocket, sir. We got running backs and wide receivers and tight ends, so that type of stuff. But that's just where he is. He seems to have already been here in a sense. But I do say this, though, too. He's stay on time because this has been his level of preparation with him getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, being there and having all the rookies come join him and be a part of his growth process too. So it'll be fascinating though to see what camp turns into, Will, because here's the other part. That defense is going to try to touch him. You know what I'm saying? Not hit him, not be around his arm, anything like that. But I do think there's going to be a side that they recognize if Cam can smother you, he will.
Right.
So you can't allow that in that phase. So I do want to see how he adjusts to that. So that's why me personally, I'm saying I think he's ahead.
Yeah, there's going to be a day where the fun banter, trash talk probably goes to the next level.
Yeah, man. You see it bubbling, don't you?
Right now, yeah, I mean, of course. And it doesn't take much in training camp once pads go on and that pressure cooker of camp begins, both literally and figuratively, because it is so hot and humid and you have so much equipment on you for the first time in a while that it does literally, I imagine, feel like you're in a pressure cooker.
It does. And then your feet get swampy and sweaty and everything else. Like, you have water in your cleats. So, yeah, don't take me down that pathway.
So, right now, Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons love the banter, and they're excited to say, hey, iron sharpens iron. This is all good things. There'll probably be a day where, in the moment, it doesn't feel like fun anymore. And that might just be what this team needs to snap out of the past couple of seasons that it has endured. This was Cam Ward yesterday talking about that trash talk, talking about how Jeffrey Simmons is already pushing him a little bit, plus talking about what he needs to do. The first thing you'll hear here once the summer break begins, which is today.
Just work out, stay in the playbook, and throw the out the ball. So
we saw a pretty good back and forth with you and Jeffrey, I guess, on his first day back. What's that been like, and what's it been like kind of exchanging trash talk with the defense?
It's been good. I need somebody like that, especially somebody like Jeff who's going to let you know he's there. Every time he's one of the best defensive tackles in the league, if not the best. I'm glad he's on my team. I'm glad he's not one of the ones who gets a chance to get a free shot at me. But, I mean, I'm happy I'm playing with him. I know he's, excited about my future, but, I can't wait to get on the field with him on Sundays. I'm always locked in. The trash talk, it'll never mean nothing to me. It won't get to me in some type of way. I'm just somebody who likes doing it. And so what's the point of playing something that you love you can't have fun with it? So, that's where it comes from. But, I mean, I love the game. And so any chance I get, to let somebody know that they can't with me, it really doesn't matter.
Well, that, Ramon, is the edge the Titans need, isn't it?
It is. Hearing it the second time around, or it's probably third or fourth time because of social media. Can I play wet blanket or just reality check for one quick second?
Play whatever you want.
Or DA, as I like to call it, devil's advocate for the sake of having this conversation. To your point you made about a minute ago about like this, it will get serious. You will feel the weight of carrying a franchise for a guy like him. I love his attitude. I love his ability to compete, be very exact in the stuff that he wants to do and how he feel about himself, because you should have that stuff. But I would caution him just a little bit. If I was his OG in that locker room, like, hey, you do got to understand, like, you got to respect the league just a little bit. Like, your ability to be great in this league is based upon what you do on the field. And as a rookie, I'd love for him to have a Jaden Daniels, C.J. Stroud type of season, right? But I'm not sure if the Titans are built like those teams are to support him in the ways that he needs to, is what I would tell him. So everything that you say is going to be micro, I guess, just dissected in a way, Will, that they'll spin it against you. So I love to see him be in a position of where his play speaks for his words more than throw the bleep out the ball or, that type of stuff. That's
because
just
ultimately he's not proven anything on the field yet.
That's my point.
He's proven he's ahead of schedule in June.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That means you've just set a pretty high bar that he's going to have to continue to meet. And to be fair, I think Cam knows and understands that.
I do
as well.
too, 100%. But like, as somebody that would be in his locker room, in his corner, that's one of the things you would tell him, like, hey, slow down just a little bit. Maybe, let's see your work. And I feel like we will.
I think so too.
But you get my point.
I totally do.
Yeah.
And I think who loves this the most is the coaching staff.
100%.
To understand that, like you discussed earlier this morning, this raises the level of everyone over at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park on that practice field, to where if you're a veteran hearing Cam Ward say, what's your confidence level, 1 to 10? 10. Yeah. Next question.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of defensive players that are saying, oh, okay, bet.
Yeah, so is that point.
Let me show you just how confident I am, because I've been doing this for 5-6 years. You just got here, buddy. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I think that is a good thing. I think that
it is
kind of friction is certainly what this organization needs. It is why you turned down the trade that you did from the New York Giants and say that one quarterback, the right quarterback, has no trade value.
Right.
Because they bring so much to the table. And this is what we're talking about practically is, hey, that guy is so confident that you can't help but rub shoulders with him and feel that energy. And want to say, hey, I'm still Ron Swanson at Home Depot saying, I know more than you. I still know more than you. Yeah. And that is the case for the defensive players. It's also the case for Will Levis.
It is.
Well, they got a pretty good day yesterday. Who wants to show up the rookie to say, no, I've been in this system. I know what it's like to be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. And again, that ain't no slight at Cam or anything. Like, this is just reality. Like, the NFL is hard.
Yes, this is not a negative conversation.
It's not a negative conversation. It's just the reality of what you up against. And specifically, like I said, we speak about the betting stuff. What is it, over under 4 games? Like, they've been right more times than I with that type of stuff. I'd bet the over. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Isn't it 5.5?
Is it 5.5? I bet the over. I thought it was 4.5. Either way.
5.5.
5.5. 5.5 get a little sticky. I'd still probably bet the over. I think they can get 6 wins this year. And it's because of Cam. It's the reason I say that too. But this is a show me league, man, is what I'm saying. And the banter that he having is awesome. But I do believe in the idea that he believes in himself. And that can take you a whole lot further than a guy that's guessing on what he's doing. And then there's also that, too, is the detail that he goes about his business with, too.
He knows who he is.
Yeah, he knows who the heck he is, man. Just the confidence to say, I'm going to throw the bleep out of the football. I'm with you, but, like, there's a day or two for yourself that needs to be thrown in there, too.
Sure. So Cam Ward also talked yesterday about where he is improving the most, talking about the 7-on-7 work that he got yesterday. Here's more from Cam Ward.
I just think the biggest thing just being just comfortable with the protections. It's not even the base stuff. It's the checks I can make, the checks I have to get out of. But that's gonna come over time. I'm excited for it. Coach Bo, Coach Callahan, they've been getting me right, and so I'm ready to get back to working next month with the team.
Where would you say you've improved the most since this camp?
Say that again.
So we hadn't seen many picks from you in the offseason. Today there are a couple. What do you learn maybe from a day and from maybe a couple picks like that?
The first one, 7-on-7, I don't count that. It's not real football. I'm glad I threw it to Cody. That was 6 points for my team. So, the second one, I should have sidearmed it. I don't know why I did some generic stuff. And really just getting better off the film. Got to continue to move backwards with my eyes. And then really just, playing clean football, especially in the red zone. I have to take care of the ball. I'm aware of that. But, I'd rather do all the crazy stuff in practice. So in the game, I know I can get away with.
Where would you say you've improved the most since you got here?
I just think my learning the terminology of the protections, I would say. The route concepts, they were all the same. From college, it was different words, but the same concepts. But I think I've improved the most daily over learning the protections from 5-man to 6-man to our mass protect. And so, that's the hardest part of the quarterback position is knowing the protections in and out. But, I'm on the right track right now, and I got some good coaches who are going to continue to help me out.
It's Cam Ward yesterday. That is the hardest part of the quarterback position. Will Levis is still figuring it out.
Yeah.
At the NFL level, figuring out the protections and how to protect yourself.
And it means a lot, man, because that's the difference between you having a touchdown and you getting your face in the dirt.
Right.
So to that point about me saying, like, this is a hard league, he somewhat answered that right then by not taking it too serious as far as the interception to Cody Barton. You know what I'm saying? He was just like, man, look, that's 6 points for my guy. But me knowing just a little bit about him in this short time, he probably looked at that and say, I'm going to look at that on tape and figure out how to be better from that. Cody made a real good play, and that's what we're also asking from a guy like Cody Barton, too. And just him in general, too, speaking about, I think he gave a little bit of about what the playbook is for him, too, because he was like, the route concepts are still the same. I thought that was a unique comment right there from Cam, considering Coach Callahan did say about the third year LSU for Joe Burrow.
Right. He wants this to be an extension of what the Miami offense was in a lot of ways.
Yes, and we're seeing that. If he can, to your point about like being confident in what he's got to do, if he can dive into what the offensive line is doing up front, offensive line, tight end, and running back in the protection, that makes his job so much easier.
It does.
It took
certainly
my
does.
play to a totally different level. Like, I knew the Mike punt, we got him. But when I started to like really break down the idea, I got this Mike point right here, but the Mike is dropping and here's a corner or a safety pressed up. Or looking at that point, we're looking at feet. Remember, I think it was Blaine Bishop, our teammate here, that said Peyton would get to the line of scrimmage and he will watch his feet. And that's how Peyton broke down the Titans' defense, by watching guys' feet and their body language and stuff like that.
If you're a stagger step or your feet are flat in the same spot, the quarterback might have a hint on if you're blitzing or if you're dropping back in coverage.
And now I know what I'm doing and where I'm going, and you're screwed. Yeah.
It's what separates the good and the bad quarterbacks of this league, because everyone's got arm talent.
Easily.
It's the processing ability. It's the speed in which you can tell what a defense is doing and then have the answer to the test on how to beat what the defense is doing.
And that's why I think he's also speaking about like throwing the mess out of the ball too.
Right.
Because if I can put myself in position where this is familiar to me and I'm not scared to thread the needle and to make a completion, that's a good place to be at.
So I think the importance of pass protection for Cam Ward this season can't be understated, not just because you want him upright and not taking hits, but because, Ramon, I think a lot of his mistakes come when the play breaks down and he throws late over the middle. Cam Ward makes his money over the middle of the field, between the numbers, 10 to 20 yards down the field. He is pinpoint when he's decisive. You and I have both watched the film on him at Miami.
Oh.
A lot of his best moments at Miami came when he got outside the pocket, had time to think. Well, you don't have time to think when you get outside the pocket in the NFL. Your instincts have to be that much sharper. And to me, that's going to be the challenge for him, is learning enough from some of the mistakes we saw from him yesterday. And it wasn't a terrible day by any means. I thought the defense was certainly better than the offense.
Right.
It wasn't as crisp as we'd seen earlier this week. But when Cam is decisive and throws in stride on time over the middle, he is as good as anybody. But a lot of these throws he's making late over the middle, he's not going to be able to get away with consistently against really good NFL defenses.
It's that part.
And we saw that a little bit more yesterday and even a little bit Wednesday, too.
Yeah.
I mean, the picks that he threw were pretty similar in that he's hunting over the middle in the red zone for a big play. And sometimes just throwing it out of the back of the end zone is the way you got to move on.
The next play. Right? The next play that we got that he has the ball on his hand. And that's the point, Will. I'm glad you brought that up, that I think will be the separator. Like, I won't crap on any division as it pertains to the SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, none of that type of stuff. What I will crap on is this. NFL football versus college. Okay? In general, you mentioned his ability to scramble and try to find an opening somewhere. Here's what I saw yesterday too, a little bit at practice, was the defense mirrored the receivers and tight ends that he was looking for.
And that's good training for them as well.
That is. And not just that though, Will, the guys that are closing in on him to make the tackle are faster. They know how to operate in space a little bit better because they are the top 1% of athletes, and they're trained and they're more mental than any 17, 18, 19, or 20-year-old in college. That is the separator. So if he can speed his process up and maturity, Will, to understand that's not a 17-year-old freshman right there. Shout out to the Alabama kid. You know what I'm saying? But and this defensive lineman is a backup, but he still ran probably a 4.7. I got to live for another down or get hit, get injured, those type, and create turnovers. Like, business decisions now have to be made because it's a different monster.
Well, this was Cam talking about other things as well, and I think this is the one quote that Brian Callahan might push back on a little bit. Cam Ward saying, well, coaches can't really tell me where to throw yesterday post-practice.
When you have a moment like you were talking about where you say, well, I should have sidearmed it or I should have done that, is that coaching or is that something you just know instinctively?
No, it's just instinctively. Coaches can't tell me where to throw the ball. At the end of the day, all I can do is call the play. And so, I got to continue to put the team in the best situation, especially in the red zone. We have 3 points. So it's a learning curve, and, I'm going to be able to get through it.
Where would you say your confidence level is before this break heading into training camp?
10. Mm-hmm.
What's going to be your measurement for success, do you think, as you get into training camp? Like, how do you value each day for yourself and whether or not it was a good day?
You either throw a lot of touchdowns, you throw a lot of picks. And so you got to weigh your options. But I think the biggest thing is measuring the wins. The quarterback position will always be judged off wins. So, I'm just trying to win a lot of games in the NFL in my career. Try to put my team and help the team in the best case to win a lot of games.
Yeah, where do you think that confidence? You said 10. Where did that come from? You were heavily recruited. You kind of had to prove yourself. Where do you think you learned to be so confident?
Just my upbringing, not getting everything I wanted, and also just believing in God. And, He's shined the light on me, and, I'm blessed. Every time I get to step on the field, I'm thankful. And so I know the work I put in. I know the film I watch. I know the things I do with my receiver. So I know every day it ain't going to be perfect, but, it's about just minimizing, the mistakes that you made to try to have a perfect day.
Were you ever at a 4 or a 5 or a 6, and when did you get to 10?
No, I'll probably never get that low, even if I, throw a 4-book game this year. At the end of the day, I'm a gunslinger. I live by that. I always die by it. So Coach Callahan knows what type of guy he has in the quarterback room and me. And so, I'm just thankful that I got guys around me to help me out, along with B.A., Brandon, and Will. And Tim in there, they help me out a lot, just getting me right with the protections. Then also the receiving core, they're going to be able to, compliment my game a lot.
It's Cam Ward yesterday. You were laughing during that.
I was. Because I don't know how to feel about that. That entire segment right there.
Because you love the confidence. You love the fact that Cam can have a bad day or a bad game or a bad drive.
Yeah.
And still feel like himself. But at the same time, coaches can tell you where to throw the ball.
They can.
They routinely do.
I think Callahan loves this.
I do too. And I think you'd rather have this than the opposite, because you probably had the opposite last year, to be quite honest. You had a guy who didn't really know who he was and didn't have this level of confidence to sling it. And this is what in Cam Ward allows him to throw with the anticipation that he has of, I'm so confident in the ball that I'm throwing that I'm going to put it on you and you're either going to catch it or you're not. But the ball's not going to be late because I know I can get it to you before the defender can react.
And I'm still chuckling off of it. More than anything, to your point, though, like I think this team needs that type of attitude.
It 100% does.
It does.
100% does.
But coming from a rookie, man, this is if he does everything I feel like he wants to do as a pro, legend. Will, period. Like I don't see any other way around it because like and here's the other part of it too. Like I had to check myself because like that's my mentality too. You know, if there's a game between me and you, I'm gonna pick me. And that's what Cam is saying. And it's different because it's the quarterback position, I think, more than anything.
Yeah.
You usually don't hear the quarterback like this is wide receiver talk. This is DB talk right here. This is a defensive lineman talking to you. This is a quarterback saying this, dog. And that's where it's a little bit different because there's a lot of other variables around him that he can't necessarily control in a sense. And it starts, number one, with the quality. It's on him with the way he feels. I feel like in a lot of this, specifically this year, to elevate that talent too. And if he's that confident in it and he feels like the coaches can tell him where to go with the football, what I would say is this: be right.
Right.
You know, like you want to see it unfold.
Even Patrick Mahomes has had humbling weeks and months and seasons in this league where he's had to learn how to take what the defense gives him. And Cam is going to have to go through that learning process as well, probably through touching the stove and getting his hand burned, not from being told that the stove's hot.
I think that's what it is. And I'm okay with that.
Sure.
I am 100% okay.
That's why
with
this
that.
season is all about Cam. It's why nobody should be fired. It's why nobody's seat should get hot, barring something crazy.
I've turned the stove off.
Right.
Yeah.
It is all about Cam figuring out that process because once you guys see it, and media's seen it so far, but once you guys see the good, you'll understand why you're willing to put up with some of the bad with Cam Ward. Yesterday wasn't a great day, and even within that, Ramon, a dart over the middle to David Martin Robinson to the back of the end zone, right over two defenders for a touchdown.
Erases everything else that happened.
Cody Barton said earlier on, we played the audio, he's looking linebackers off and then going back over the middle where he just looked the linebacker off. He's doing some 200, 300 level stuff quickly, which means you got to live with some of the 100 level mistakes that he's going to make this season.
And he knows he's going to make them too.
We got to set that expectation now and not be surprised when it happens.
I almost like I've correlated a little bit, I feel like, the way what Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen dealt with.
Similar.
You knew Josh Allen was going to run, be reckless.
You knew he was going to throw some picks.
But you knew at the end of the day, boy, it's a whole lot shinier with him than without him. And that's the point. I love that. I do. But it's also me knowing the league, defenses are going to try to eat that up for a lot of different reasons. Like, he's going to be a guy, I feel like, that get hits, and just push to the ground just because, one, he's a rookie, and two, they want to see if they can break a guy like him.
615-737-1045, our number. We go around the NFL and around the AFC South. Headlines in Indy, Jacksonville, and Houston from ESPN.com NFL Nation writers we got for you next.
It's Ramon Foster for Window Nation. Good people, man, help keep your house cool this month. I talked to y'all earlier about how the bugs are outside right now, which means the heat is turned on outside, man. And the best way to help yourself is to make sure that you are not letting that cool air out. And Window Nation is the company that can help you with that. People speak highly of Window Nation, just so you know, just like Albert. He said, great valve, great product, and great customer service. He would highly recommend. Yes, they are just that good. But not only just that, man, they have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They do a 50-point inspection on every window before it leaves the factory and a 20-point inspection when it's installed. And how do I know this? Well, it's because they have a 96% customer satisfaction rating. And they got over, listen to this big number, 45,000 5-star reviews. Yes, that Window Nation has that many 5-star reviews. On top of that, they have over 1,500 colors and styles for you to choose from. They're just built different, man. I'm just telling you that, man. Is this a company that you need to invest in if you are looking for windows? So schedule a fast, free estimate now with the pros at Window Nation. You can call them at 866-90Nation or go online at windownation.com.
Friday morning, 104.5 The Zone. This is Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, 615-737-1045. As we wrap up hour 3 this morning, Ramon, the propaganda has begun in the city of Indianapolis.
I'm listening.
They're focused on an NBA Finals.
Yeah.
They're focused on the Indiana Fever. Meanwhile, the Colts social media team has already started pumping the tires of Daniel Jones.
I started to send it to our Twitter account.
You noticed that yesterday, too?
And I was just like, nah, send me down.
Videos of Daniel Jones spinning the football at Colts camp, where A.D. Mitchell is a big topic of discussion. ESPN.com, NFL Nation reporters on notes around minicamps around the NFL. And that's the big conversation. 23 catches on 55 targets. That's a 41% catch rate last year for A.D. Mitchell. And they are looking for more consistency from the second-year wide receiver out of Texas in Indy. Interesting group of weapons there, Ramon, between him, Josh Downs, the UNC guy, and, of course, Michael Pittman Jr. How much success do you think Daniel Jones could have in that offense?
It feels to me like the type of guys he want to be working with, too. And it also seems like Anthony Richardson may be out the way. He's got a plethora of different types of guys, too. He's got speed, right? He's got the support of a running back, too. And then he got the offensive line. If they can keep that thing tight, well, I've always liked Daniel Jones. I have. I don't know why I've had a crush on this dude, but like...
Well, he played in a Cutcliffe offense like you did.
That's what it is.
That's probably part of it, honestly.
Yeah. And he was super dope, too, whenever I worked the 19 draft that was here in Nashville. He stopped by, Coach Cutcliffe stopped by, too. But I do believe in that. I'm going to be honest. I think that's it. It's because I know that the guy that Coach Cutcliffe has trained up is in there somewhere. The ability to help him be in a position where he can operate with a competent coach and stay out of his own way, too, with some of the tripping and falling in the wide open field or the New York media side of it, too. I do believe, Will, sometimes, like, your city can affect you in a way. I'll be quite honest. I thought Nashville affected Will Levis last year. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like a slow city like Indianapolis may be good for a guy like Daniel Jones to be able to facilitate a better career out of him.
I also don't think Daniel Jones is the kind of personality like Levis to go out and be seen with celebrities or country music stars or at bars during things going on in his city.
It's a simple person town, and he seems to be a simple guy, too.
Right. He's Midwest nice.
Exactly. There we go. Midwest nice is the way to put it. But the Colts could get frisky, especially with him.
I think so, too. I honestly think that Daniel Jones is a better fit for a Shane Steichen RPO-style offense than Anthony Richardson is.
Yeah.
Because Daniel Jones can still run, and I think Daniel Jones is more accurate in the short intermediate pass game than Richardson. Anthony Richardson's ability to take the top off the defense is well documented. His ability to be an athlete with the ball in his hand, no doubt. But Daniel Jones's arm strength is lacking. I don't know if you really need that, though, throwing a timing 5, 10, 15-yard intermediate route over the middle in a run-pass option kind of system. And that's what Shane Steichen wants his Indy offense to be.
It really is.
I think they are better with Daniel Jones than with Anthony Richardson at quarterback. Indy.
I swear, when I don't know why I came across my algorithm. It may have been because Schefter or somebody else put it on there, but I was like, let me send this to Will and Justin. And I didn't because I was like, we don't want to play that game. But the pitch has already been started.
Oh, yeah.
He looked good doing it. I think he's the comfortable guy for them to do this job.
According to ESPN's Michael Duraco, in 7 practices open to the media in Jacksonville, Travis Hunter spent 5 on offense, 1 on defense, and 1 splitting time between both. Liam Cohen saying that's definitely what we have to build towards for training camp. And then obviously in season, knowing that during practice, he's going to have to do both offense and defense. He wants to do it. It's not as if it's something he can't handle. He wants to go and do that more. But ultimately, Liam Cohen says, we also have to protect Travis Hunter from himself at times as well and make sure we get out of this phase healthy. But that is absolutely the plan moving forward, him having time on each side of the ball.
Yeah, I think they're probably best suited offensively Trevor Lawrence needs another weapon like that. And
Feels like he's mainly a receiver.
Yeah, he's definitely. Well, that's the way I feel, too. He's mainly a receiver in this offense. That's where I think their strong suit is. Because here's the thing. If he's playing corner, you want him on either the outside slice or you just want him to be a lockup guy on the tight end. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the role you got to ask yourself for a dude like him.
I think he's following somebody's best wide receiver.
On a few plays?
As good as he is at corner.
Yeah.
And I just think overall, that's what he is.
If he logs like 110 plays on an NFL game, that would be new to me. Like,
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, that would be new to me. But he's quick, he's an athlete, and like you say, he's a blanket.
In Houston, second-round wide receiver Jaden Higgins drawing attention during minicamp. Some one-handed catches with Kamari Lassiter, the man in coverage. He's connected with C.J. Stroud on other plays. 6'4", 215-pound wideout, Jaden Higgins, Ramon. Opposite of Nico Collins, who is also not a small guy. There is going to have to be a level of physicality and grit to cover Houston Texans wide receivers if both Jaden Higgins and Nico Collins are healthy, especially considering the reports in Houston are that Jaden Higgins has hit the ground running and is starting off fast.
Yeah. And their change of offensive coordinators may be their only hiccup as it pertains to the Houston Texans.
Well, the offensive line, too, is, I think, worse than it was last year.
And the offensive line. Can C.J. Stroud operate on the move like that? Because it seems to me, and this is like most quarterbacks, too, as I say this, doesn't like to be touched, doesn't like to be hit. He has a level of frustration that shows up when people are badgering him in and around the pocket. So if his offensive line, to your point, isn't good, then he better have an offense, man, that gets the ball out quick and able to utilize those guys closer to the line of scrimmage more than anything.
Those guys better be able to get off of being jammed at the line.
Yes.
Because if rushes get home quickly, C.J. Stroud's going under. He just does not have, like, that offensive line without Larry Tunsil is worse than it was last year.
A little bit different now.
Yeah.
It is a little bit different. Being 100%. On the sideline with the Titans last year when the Titans got after him down in Houston, you could see, like, his just frustration. And I know that's like most guys in that moment, but like it was visible with a dude like him. It was like, this isn't right. He doesn't feel comfortable. Like he's not comfortable being uncomfortable.
I'm excited to see that in person myself this year. Hopefully the Titans can get a win in Houston as well while I'm on the sideline this time around.
One of the best press meal places in the country, by the way. Them in Cleveland, legit.
I will not be doing social media updates on press meals the way Buck Reisig does. You'll have to just follow him for that.
Pretty legit, I'm going to be honest. You'll like Houston for that. Maybe nothing else, but you'll like it for that.
615-737-1045, transitioning into hour 4. How do players spend the next 5 weeks? What is this time like between mandatory minicamp and training camp? We'll get the 11-year NFL vet's perspective in the room coming up next.
It is 9:01. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. Happy Friday. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans wrapped up mandatory minicamp yesterday, and now we'll take a break for the remainder of the offseason to reset until they have to report back to the facility for training camp starting July 22nd and back on the practice field on July 23rd. Tonight, Game 4 of the NBA Finals. The Indiana Pacers hold a 2-1 series lead and host the Oklahoma City Thunder in Indianapolis at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder are the 6.5-point favorite, and they're looking to avoid a 3-1 hole when the series shifts back to OKC for Game 5 on Monday night. Tonight, tip-off for Game 4 is at 7:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC. And in golf at the U.S. Open at Oakmont Country Club today, American J.J. Spaun is the leader in the clubhouse after going 4 under par in round 1 yesterday. Round 2 is underway today. Brooks Koepka is back to even on the day through 9 holes as he pushes to the top. Koepka is now 2 shots behind Spaun, who tees off later this morning. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Here we go into the fourth and final hour of the morning, hour 20 of another packed week here on Ramon and Will. We are brewed by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned Scooters location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. It is the perfect way to kick off your weekend. Maybe you're an NFL player and you're kicking off a summer break. You just said bye to everyone. You just signed "Have a Good Summer" in the yearbooks as you left the facility yesterday. You can stop by Scooters. Yeah. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Raone Foster, it is Dad's weekend, and it is football Dad's weekend because there ain't practice till the end of July.
Yeah, buddy.
It really did feel like the end of school yesterday.
It really did. You saw everything. I was fascinated, though, too, because the Titans did something that we didn't do. And I know every franchise is different, but Family Day is usually in camp.
Yeah.
I wonder the coach is going to beat them down so much in camp they don't need the kids and parents to see them.
Well, they'll spend 2 weeks away from Nashville in camp, so less opportunities to have family at practice because there's going to be 2 weeks of practice in Tampa and Atlanta.
Well, that makes sense. Then.
Going away.
That's the why. Okay, look at the big brain on Will. I see. There you go.
About all that.
You in tune to the sideline job. Now you're just like, well, what's the schedule like?
I haven't been on the sideline, just the sideline of a practice field.
That's me, man. That's on me. But I will say this, though. The Titans did a really good job for what I can say about their practice without giving up too much. They had, like, food trucks out there. The kids was out there. I was recruiting a kid already out there.
Yeah, Ramon, the first thing Ramon says, he walks up, he goes, "Dog, there is a 4-year-old over here that I want to recruit." I was like, Ramon, a 4-year-old? Yes. You're the way Ramon goes, yes. This kid is going to be an athlete. You hear me? Dog.
Hey.
Athlete.
Listen to me. And yes, Jayhawk. Will, let me tell you about this. I didn't see the last name or who it was. It was a wife and 2 kids. Had a daughter and a hip and the kid. And I'm looking at this kid's like calves. I'm just like, wait a minute. Then he's walking on his tippy toes. I'm like, I was like, hey, Mom, I'm sorry to like bother you. I was like, but that kid gonna be an athlete. And she was just like, oh, he's only 4 too. I was like, yeah. I'm talking about this kid has some trunks on him. And what got me was he was legit like walking on his tippy toes with some bounce. I'm like,
funny.
Athlete with an F. Do you hear me, man? But
athlete.
See, I get Will going.
It's Friday and we're acting like it.
We acting like it. But no lie, man. Like, y'all want to know the ones that do and don't? Genetics. That kid inherited whoever his pop's genetics is. They were seeping through, man.
So entering this break, Titans will report back for training camp the last week in July, the way it always works. It's about pacing yourself now, isn't it?
Yeah.
July 4th is kind of what you said is the end of the summer where guys will start on their own, ramping up their own training and getting ready for training camp and all of these things. But for Cam Ward specifically, Ramon, and someone who says, I want to throw the mess out of the ball while I am away. Is there any concern on your end that he's going to hit a pretty hard rookie wall this season, just considering all the 5 a.m. workouts, the June meetings, the amount of extra throwing that he's doing? How much do you think this staff is going to try to dial him back a little bit over these next few weeks?
I think when he hit the camp, it's got to be 100 miles and running. I will say that, but I know he's told the media and everybody else that he's locked in. It's an everyday thing for him. But I would advise him, and I hope Coach Callahan and somebody else, hey, you need about a week. Relax your brain, because I think we had coaches talk about it before too. This has been a nonstop year, specifically for a guy like him. One, to lead up to get to this point. And then we got the All-Star game, which he did not do, but you got the training that he did with Shador and everybody else with his quarterback coach. Yep. Then he has the combine, then he has his pro day, and then he's got visits, right? Like, there's been a lot of nonstop action for a guy like him. So you're right. The idea that he needs to pace himself just a little bit, because what you learn in the NFL or being a professional is this: there has to be a break of mental time. There has to be a pacing of how you perform and how you go about maximizing your talents, right? And that's where I feel like I think it's good for the Titans to have a guy as motivated and driven as Cam Ward, but him personally, Will, to your point, the same way we saw a guy the same way in J.C. Latham last year. We saw with Peter Skoronski the year before that, and the other rookies along with it, especially if you are a starter. Like, your idea of, like, not all at once, it's a marathon. It is not a sprint, is what you would tell him. So, yeah, I'm with you. Like, if I'm him, I'm taking Bahamas trip or somewhere to get my mind off the game for a little bit. And then you can do what coaches tell you, actively rest. I mean, get one of the locals if you're going to an island or Hawaii somewhere and throw the football to the kids. That in itself is working at your job, too. Like, he can take a video crew for all I care, you know what I'm saying, and show himself having fun on the beach. But there needs to be a component of fun. Right. Because I'm telling you that, like, that rookie wall can get real.
It is a real thing. No doubt.
Depending on your wins and losses, it could beat you down.
There is a certain amount of emotional and mental energy that you as a human being have for over the course of an entire season. And rationing that out over an 18-game schedule is a lot different, or 18-week schedule and 17 games is a lot different than rationing that out for a 14-week calendar where you play 12 games.
Yeah.
It is a different process. At any level of sport, you have a certain amount of emotional and mental energy that you have for the entire season. And this is where people in Cam Ward's camp have got to help him manage all of that. It's where Daryl Colbert, his quarterback's coach, has got to be able to schedule out, hey, look, we're going to work on this for these couple of weeks, but we need to have a dead period where just go sit on the beach somewhere, buddy. Like, it's really like, it's okay.
You've earned it.
You are helping yourself long term by taking it easy a little bit. I'm not sure that's going to happen. Right. I don't think that's the way Cam Ward is wired. No. And there are some people who are just a little bit different. And no matter what they do and no matter how long they play or practice, they have an unlimited amount of emotional and mental energy. Those people don't grow on, it is not common to say that a lot of people can do that. But those people grow up, is what I'm trying to say. They grow up a little bit different.
They do.
And those people can grow up with the ability to say, look, I've always been doubted, and I am going to continue to act and work like I'm still the zero star.
Absolutely.
And that's what excites me about Cam Ward is I don't know if he's going to even really need to kind of pace himself through all of this, because I don't know if he ever has before.
Yeah. But this is also a different monster you're dealing with, too. Like, every week there's pressure's a privilege. It's always what I'll say. But you're talking about completely, if you are the guy, like, this isn't a, what was it, 2 years at Incarnate Word, 2 at Washington State, and then a year at Miami. No, we're talking about 10, 12, potentially 15 years.
Right.
And there's a pacing that has to be done with that. And I feel like what he's done so far, he's set a great foundation to go into training camp. right now. And that's probably, I think most of our vacations, Will, to be quite honest with you, were probably like 4 to 5 days. It was never like a 10-day situation. So it's not like you're telling him to just go away and do nothing. You're just asking the guy to, when it's time to go, I need to know that you are ready to lock in. And in that, you need to be able to get away from the thing that's going to take up all your time. And that's just been a pro in it.
Yeah.
That's just been a pro.
So there's 5 weeks left until training camp. How many of those weeks would you normally spend not working out?
Those 4 days we go on vacation.
Yeah.
That's about it. Like, we probably leave on like a Thursday to Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? One day is a travel day. You try to go to the gym. If you go on a cruise somewhere, hit the gym, hit the elliptical and stuff like that. But that's about it, because I would say, like, being a pro and just an athlete in general, like, you're never off mentally, to be quite honest with you. You find times to relax, but you understand that if I don't do something, then I'm be way behind where I started at.
Sure.
So there is that component of it too. But it's 4 to 5 days, Will, probably minimum to no drinking whatsoever. You probably gonna have a burger, enjoy yourself, a nice steak dinner or something like that. Seafood, if that's your thing. I don't care. I don't know. Mama's home cooking.
Sure.
But you get back to the main thing, and the main thing is what you want to provide for the rest of your life, and that's football. So that's where it's at, man. And after that, it's the same routine day in and day out. Now, there's different phases of that too, Will. There is, look, the first couple of weeks we're running, we're grinding, we're getting a better foundation under ourselves for conditioning. That's what you're doing. And you're working on the small muscle groups, man, lifting. It's not like you're going to go from benching 395 to 450 in this 5 weeks.
That's great.
It's called steroids.
Yeah, right.
If you're doing that.
Right.
But what you're doing is building that foundation that the muscles that you have aren't going to wear out and break you down over the duration of the season. Like, I can't overstate enough how long and taxing the season is, Will.
Yeah.
Because
can't imagine.
It's you're so locked in that you forget sometimes that you got other things that you need to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at with, like, this 5 weeks that they have to lead into training camp. And I'll say about a week out, instead of heavy lifting, you're doing core, you're doing balance stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing long wind sprints instead of sprinting in general, or just strides to get ready for the conditioning test. And then that week going into those 2-3 days before, man, I'm getting my massages. I'm making sure I'm hydrated.
Right.
Probably going on a date night with the wife, spouse, girlfriend, whatever it is. Hey, kids, dad's about to roll. Now it's my time.
Yep.
And you cut everything else off after that.
Right. In the U.S. Open, Scotty Scheffler bogeying 2 of his last 3 holes. He just 3-putt a minute ago after having a birdie putt, then made bogey. Victor Hovland through 8 holes, finishing up 9 right now, is in second. 1 shot behind J.J. Spawn at 3 under. Brooks Koepka finishing the front, making the turn to the back at 2 under as well. Sam Burns with him at 2 under. So U.S. Open carnage already beginning. Earlier this morning. It is one of my favorite mornings where you can watch an East Coast golf tournament where it starts before we start. So we've had it on the monitor all morning.
That's exactly what the golf course wants too, huh? Carnage.
Yeah, the course is winning this morning. The course is playing well.
Does that put a black eye to it?
No, it makes it the hardest major.
Okay.
The U.S. Open is the hardest major.
Okay.
It's the hardest to make. It is the hardest course. Scotty Scheffler said this is the hardest course we may ever play. When he spoke to the media this week. It's harder than the Masters.
And they appreciate that.
Yes. Well, maybe before and after, but maybe not during. I don't know if Scotty was slamming his club into his divot yesterday. He was as ticked off as you see Scotty Scheffler. And Sung J M was in second yesterday and said, I think this course is too hard for me.
The grounds crew.
And it was 2 under.
The lawnmower crew Will is sitting back.
Yeah.
Good.
No. They literally have clippers that you would get to go get a haircut, shaving the fringe outside the green. Like, there are people hand cutting the fringe outside the green with literally
shears,
a fade, what you get to literally
you
get.
Mean clippers?
No, I literally mean clippers. Yes,
I gotta go look this up.
It is unbelievable the amount of people and the amount of hours it takes to manicure a golf course, especially one of this caliber. Coming up, Ron Slay going to make his way into the studio. We'll talk a little bit of Titans mandatory minicamp and maybe a little bit of hoops. Some big changes coming to college basketball, NBA, life. Wherever Ron Slay leads us, we'll go next. Car has no roof, studio has no roof when Ron Slay is in the building, which he will be in a matter of seconds as he makes his way in.
Call it matter of minutes.
Minutes?
Yes, minutes.
Yes. Ron Slay's knee will not allow it to be a matter of seconds.
He had his Dr. Rob call in yesterday on the show right before I went on 3HL, man, and told him I'm going to take real good care of you. I told her if Dr. Rob was still listening, maybe listening to us. Shout out to you, Dr. Rob. Go get our guy right. I told him, Will, hear me out. I don't care if they got to lay Savage down on a picnic table in his backyard.
Sure.
Fix that knee. What was the home show? Move that bus.
Right.
Move that knee is the way I'm thinking about it right now, man.
I love it. I don't love it for Ron, but I love the fact that the doctor is taking care of it.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
No doubt. Slay making his way into the studio. We'll talk about some of the confidence stuff, some of the offseason work stuff with Cam Ward, of course. NBA Finals continuing this weekend. Game 4 coming up tonight between the Pacers and the Thunder. And a kind of a sneaky good sports weekend as well, as it should be for Dad's Week.
Yeah, no, it should be. I mean, considering we're going to have to hop on the grill and make steaks and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Be at baseball parks. There's nothing that occupy Mom's week. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely nothing. What y'all doing on Sunday? Whatever Mom want to do. What you doing on Father's Day? Well, we got to go do something else. We can't celebrate Dad's what we want to. I can't wait till the campaign leader comes in here, man, okay? The Ron Slay campaign of making Dad's Week Dad's Month, okay? We're labeling June all sort. Oh, look at the door. Look at the door, Will.
What about it?
He's on crutches.
Oh, no.
And he's got assistants.
Ron Slay entering, Lucas Panzica getting the door open for the Minister of No Roof Ministries.
The Minister of No Roof Ministries and the campaign leader for Dad's
Arbiter
Month.
of Dad's Month. That's right.
They were wondering where you were coming in, and I looked out the window real quick, and then I heard my dog was banging as he was coming in here. Yeah, little YG. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
I said Ron Slay will be joining us in a matter of seconds, and I was quickly corrected to say, no, it might be minutes. That's okay, though. Approaching the microphone.
You just got to get your bearings together.
You look good. It's the off season for everyone. This is the time of year where athletes get their cleanup surgeries, get their procedures done, get ready for the season. And Ron Slay's just following in stride. Just get a little cleanup going. It's a little more than a cleanup, what's happening with the knee. But we're making it.
Oh, yeah, man.
And he made it in.
Guess what now? Man, what's up, man?
What's happening, Savage?
Man, I'm cool out here, Will Lee, man. I'm just trying to, Dr. Rob, shout out Dr. Rob. Gonna get me on that thing.
Him out too.
Yeah, man, it's real. It's real out here. I'm telling you, hey, man, ain't nothing worse. You know what? Let me go and say this.
Go on, do it, Savage.
I'm so blessed to have been an athlete.
Yeah.
To never have had to put up with civilian life. Take this in the right way, y'all. I want y'all to take this in the right way.
I know what you mean.
As an athlete.
Yeah.
Especially a high level athlete. You know what I mean? Athlete, you know what I mean? Meaning you playing in, which is Power 4 now, but Power 5 programs, you know what I mean? D1. SEC. Like, you have some of the best. Like, when we got Jason McVay up at the University of Tennessee, he came in from Duke. Mm-hmm. He was fresh out. I think Will, like you jumped in the radio world. That's how he jumped in the training world under Mike Rollo. Like, I mean, fresh out of Duke. Yeah, fresh out of Duke, man. Came in, was learning learning the ropes, and I remember when I tore my ACL. I think that was his year 2. I was going in my junior year, but I say all that to say, like, he knew his stuff. You know what I mean? He was, boy, golly. And now, who runs it up there? Jason McVay. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how long it's been, his tenure has been from learning the ground up. You know what I mean? But back to my point, my original point. When you get an injury, as an athlete, dog, you get diagnosed the next day. You in X-ray probably that night.
There's a plan for you immediately.
I mean, before you leave the court or the field or
five steps, how we're gonna get you back?
I mean, immediately
give it to you.
Come on, man.
They clear schedules.
They clear
treatment.
Your
next
priority.
morning. Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Drive you there.
Yeah. No, we'll be to pick you up at such and such. Like
just be ready. They will send a trainer to come knock on you.
Come on, man. Come on, Savage.
Come on, let's go.
Come on, Savage.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I've never had to dealt with this. Like, knowing that I tell my ACL, I'm in surgery as soon as I get my therapy, my PT done where I got strength in my quad.
They want to strengthen it up first.
So I was probably 5 or 6 days and I was in surgery.
That stuff's harder than you think it is, too, by the way.
Oh,
the PT stuff.
Oh, my God.
It's a workout.
Oh, every bit of it.
Yeah.
That was the worst part of it. You know what I mean? The post-surgery was cool because you got a goal to hit. You know what I mean? You got to think, before you doing all this muscle stuff and getting back right to lose it all.
Right.
Yeah. It's stupid. But, dog, to hear something like Babs was telling about her dad, he had to get knee replacements and hip replacements, but he can get scheduled for 3 months out. Like, I don't know this world. I've been dragging this leg around like a pirate halfway because I'm trying to tough it out. You know what I mean? So I'm popping the leave and all this, ibuprofen, it do good, I get it drained. I'm just fighting through it. I'm trying to get through the season. We're in the off season now. I'm expecting like, hey man, okay, you see this doctor, it's going down. You ain't got to wait 2 weeks to go see another doctor. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
He down the hall.
Right.
I can take that down.
Go see him right now.
Yeah, I can go see him right now. Like, what's the holder? What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's like, hey, dog, I'm just saying, hey, if you're an athlete out there, man,
enjoy it while you got
enjoy it, dog.
Yeah.
This real world stuff.
Or can just go to the trainer room. Hey man, I'm not feeling good. Okay, well,
but we're gonna find out.
Dr.
You ain't got to worry
Clank,
about
Dr.
it.
Clank is right here.
Dr. Clank, I had him too. Dr. Clank is a legend.
Yes, and still there.
Absolutely.
And good though too.
He was getting a lot of cameos behind Tony in the dugout the other day in the Tennessee baseball series.
That's
I
my guy.
had that same thought. Like, shout out Dr. Clank. That guy takes care of us.
Hey, I made it through my freshman year at UT, and like I knew I had like a bone issue with my left toe.
Yeah.
And dog, soon after winter break was over with. Soon as school's right about to start right back, hey, you got surgery on the 7th.
See?
Just that quick. You got surgery on the 7th.
So quick.
I already got it planned out for you, dog.
Planned.
That's the thing now. Like, I stood up too fast and hurt my Achilles a few months ago. How I know I'm getting older. Because literally. Because that's why one of the reasons I had to stop running. There's probably a micro tear in there somewhere. I just haven't gotten fixed. But it's like you said, I don't even know where do I even start? Like, who can come? Could somebody come look at my Achilles, please, and tell me what's wrong with it? Because I would have just gone into coach's office in college. And where's coach's office? I don't have a coach's office to walk into. I can't go to the trainer and say, I need ice and stim today, please. Get the GA over there to take my shoe off and wave that magic wand on my ankle. Thanks.
That is it.
Another one that we take for granted, though, too, the physicals.
Yes.
Yes.
It was automatic.
I ain't gotten a physical since it's been 4 or 5 years. There could be things seriously wrong with me. Lord knows, but I don't.
Yeah, man.
You on hope in the
good Lord
right
might
now.
know. I have no clue.
I'm telling you.
No clue.
When you do have to go to the doctor for something, they ask you who your primary, you be like, damn. You know what I was putting down numerous times?
I switched doctors recently. It was like, do you have medical records from your past that we can get? I was like, from college, man.
No, that's it.
I'm 27 years old. I've been in college in 6 years.
Man, I used to be overseas just like that. You got to fill out that paperwork and ask you about all your medicals. I'm like, hey, UT, y'all can call Chad. Chad got to call.
Ask for Dr. Clink.
He got to call every year at the beginning of the year. Like, Slay, all right, I got you. Like, all right, dog, you right, Will. I don't
Will
know where to
told
go.
me about his primary the other day. I was like, I got one now, but like,
I'm good now. I take care of myself.
That, like reintroducing yourself to civilian
getting engaged.
life.
There's another person relying on me to be alive and healthy. So I don't really care, but for my family, I was like, maybe I'll make sure I'm okay.
That's it, dog. I'm telling you.
Hey, I had to hit McVay real quick, man, just to let him know he was getting shout out.
Man.
Yeah, he said the more I stay behind the scenes and out of the media, the better. Good.
No, we're putting you in here, dog. No, we're putting. That's some great dudes, man. That right there.
Yeah.
It's a luxury, y'all. Take advantage of it. Do it and treat them right.
Yeah.
Treat them people right, y'all, because I'm telling you.
For sure.
Every time I got injured overseas, like, it'll take a week, and I tell that team, just let me go back to UT. Yeah. I'm coming back. Like, I promise you. I just need 2 weeks. I might not even need that long. I'm going to get over there, get diagnosed, get cut on. Like, man, and I'm back, y'all. So, yeah, man, all of them. UT Medical is on my Mount Rushmore. The entire medical
Those
staff.
are some of the people at UT also who have the staying power, who are still there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for all the changes you get in media relations or in the athletic department, just higher ups of like sport administrators, like Dr. Klink is the one guy probably that from all three of us that has been around in the time that we were up there.
They hang in there, man.
Yeah.
They hang in there.
What's
man.
crazy,
Shout out
though,
to
too, is I'm telling McVay about this right now. It's like, Sav, I'm telling a little bit of your situation.
Yeah.
What's crazy, though, too, the cool part about treating them right, if you'd have probably hit him up like McVay.
They would have said, come up here.
I need this.
Right away.
He would have set you up.
It would have been no question.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It would have been no question. I just been trying to be cool,
You're trying
man.
to be self-sustaining.
Yeah. But I tell you what, though, I'll never, ever go through this again. I'm calling UT immediately.
Right.
I mean, it's like I never.
It's like when you leave one of those appointments and they tell you have to get a major procedure done. They're like, all right, so we got availability in 6 weeks. You're like, 6
what?
weeks?
Yeah, what I'm supposed to do from?
What are you talking about?
Nah, you want me to be in the bed?
For sure. I know exactly what you mean.
You ain't got to worry about this no more. But I will say, shout out to Dr. Rob, Dr. Moore, man. They have lit the fire and understood, like, we got to get this taken care of.
What you really find out is you're not that important.
That's it. That's it, Savage. That's why you got to be in good standing.
I had a coach at one point. I won't say
not
who
you
or where.
Per se,
Yeah,
but like,
in general. Yeah.
I had a coach at one point in my life who called non-athletes Gen Pop. That's what
I call
that's
it.
what you've entered. That's what we've entered.
A general population.
Right there. Yeah. Right there, y'all.
So,
Right there, man.
mandatory minicamp Slay wrapping up yesterday. We've played a lot of audio this morning. I know you guys did as well, and have talked about it throughout the week of Cam Ward and the way he is wired a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. Are you worried at all about a guy like him pacing himself through this first summer when he says yesterday, like, no, my plan is to throw the bleep out of the ball? Like, is there a line that he needs to walk within this, or is it just, hey, look, if you've got the work ethic, go out there, work as much as you want. Let's see how long we can keep you before you hit that rookie wall?
Yeah, I think I'm the latter part of it. And this is what we asked for. You know, when you look at the comps of who everybody is saying he relates to, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they went through. Take it back, and I hate this comp. Steve McNair.
Yeah.
Like, it was the same thing. Like, if you would have asked Steve coming out, like, what's your confidence? 10?
Yeah.
Like, what I was up for the Heisman. You know what I'm
I
saying?
love that.
Like, what do you think I'm supposed to be? And then when you look at Patrick Mahomes, the same way. Now, he had to have some polishing and everything, but it's the same thing. Like, this is what you want in a guy that you haven't had there in that spot since McNair. That can control the locker room, that has that aura when he walks in, where vets want to poke at him, where vets want to test him and see how hard his outer surface is. You know what I mean? Like, you gonna stand up, or what you gonna do? You gonna shrivel? You know what I'm saying? So, this is what we've been asking for. Not somebody that's too high strung, too low. You got to say sick him. None of that. This guy walked in. He knows who he is, and he's projecting it.
Yeah.
And there's no ifs, ands, or buts. So I'm cool with all of it, man. Like, and I do understand too. Like I was saying yesterday, it's gonna be some down moments too, y'all. You know what I mean? That's part of the growth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's running out there, man, straight out the gate and going off.
Right.
Like, Joe Burrow came in and had a great season and got hurt. He was on his way to do something special, but at the same time, who knows if he would have hit that wall? If he didn't get hurt, maybe he didn't sit back. He wouldn't have been able to sit back and try to figure it out too. Like, that's all of it. Jaden Daniels did jump in there right away, but he jumped into a different organization with different pieces around him. So that's the other part that we got to understand. Just because it's a spotlight and the light's getting brighter on him does not mean all these other voids have been filled.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like that depth still ain't there. You know what I mean? So understand that going into it, like, it's yes, and he will accept. I'm speaking on his behalf, but he will accept all responsibility. You know what I mean? As far as them winning or losing, I don't see him running away from it, saying it's somebody else's fault or anything. Like
he's not going to need to rewire his brain.
No, this is what it is. And we're going to fight through this and get through it, and here I am, and I'm going to be the same me every single day. That's what I took from it. I'm going to be the same me every single day.
100%.
That's what you're going to get. I'm going to slang it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm going to throw it away some. But at the same time, I'm going to be even keel, and we're going back out there the next play to get right back to it.
His brain is wired like a gunslinger. That brain might tell him to do the wrong thing sometimes, but there's going to be no rewiring it to reinvent himself at this level. He's either going to sink or swim doing things his way.
Yep.
And I like that.
Yeah, and then you also got to understand, like, the experience is the best teacher with him. Yep. You have the ceiling where you can win 5 or 6 games, and that's if you were in control of that, that's a win.
Yeah, it is.
For the season.
For sure.
Like, so look at the room for error that you got.
Yep.
So figure it out. Like, you might win them 6 games on the back end of the season. What if they go 6-0 on the back end? Well, that's what we really want.
Yep.
And offense is booming. You know what I'm saying?
Going into the offseason. That's what we want next time.
We own something then. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or, he come out hot and maybe the defense don't hold up. That has holes in it. You know what I'm saying? So it's so much room for error. I just think, man, we got to be patient enough and not try to fill that with hope and our expectations, where there's got to be players to be able to fill the boards, not us.
100%. It's fascinating. Like I said, I play devil's advocate. I'm not sure if you heard a little bit, just to play into it, because you don't expect your quarterback to speak like this. Like when he answered 10. I was like, ooh, man.
Yeah.
But just if I was his OG in his locker room with him, I'd also say to him, and I think he understands this, hey, you're going to have to show us more. You're just telling us this, too. There is that component, and you hear him say that and acknowledge that, too. And the idea at the end of the day, look, man, I'm a gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm throwing this thing around, and I'll figure it out whenever we get to that point. That was kind of cool to hear, because I think certain teams need stuff. I think Buffalo needed Josh Allen. I think Baltimore needed Lamar.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same way Pittsburgh needed Ben and Kansas City needed Patrick, right? Those things matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I think Cam's attitude matters to what this fan base has been looking for, Savage.
So, I'm with you on that. So I would ask you, what do you believe is the feeling around that offensive unit when you got veterans like, what's my guy named, the right guard?
Kevin Zeigler.
Zeigler. You got Zeigler coming in, Dan Moore coming in, Latham, who's taking on, life of his own, being who he is, Cushenberry in the middle, and then Skoronski, and you trying to build with a guy like Bill Callahan. If you hear your guy talk like that, yes, you need more. Yeah. We need you to show it, but you feel more confident breaking the huddle with a guy speaking like that, or more of a guy saying, hey, y'all, be cool. Hold on, say it again. Hold on, y'all. Say it one more time, Coach. You feel what I'm saying?
I want him like that. I want him like that, and this is the other point behind him being this boisterous, too. Mm-hmm. The other point behind this is, if I see this young fella that's hot, that's fiery, that's ready to go, I better see that 5 surround him and protect him, too.
That's what I'm getting to.
That's the other half of it, to what we're talking about, dragging the back end and raising the tide, is that part for me.
Yep. That's what I'm on the hill.
Comment on YouTube from Lonzo says, so it's okay that Cam Ward is a gunslinger, but it's bad when Will Levis.
No, it's not. It's not bad. It's being a gunslinger and connecting. So you just out here being a gunslinger. You can go out there to the OK Corral, just shoot in the barrels. Ain't nothing in the barrels.
The reason the switch is banned.
Yeah, exactly.
The Glock attachment.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can't sling it if you're getting sacked 40 times.
That too.
In 12 games.
But still, know what you aiming at.
Right, exactly.
There we go. You know no innocent bystanders is what we're saying.
That's all.
No.
That's all we saying. Surrender Cobra, you just pulled out and like, wait a minute, this ain't Roger Rabbit. This is slow down, brother.
He took a left at Albert.
Yeah,
we needed to take a right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
This ain't no animated movie, man. This is real life out here. It's real bullets that you slinging. So if you a gunslinging, you slinging real bullets, hit what you trying to hit
on some of them
consistently. It's okay. I'm not saying you going. Hey, all right, leg, flesh wound. All right, we cool. We're gonna patch him up and be all right. No, dog, don't hit the guy in the head that ain't had nothing to do with it. He's just selling apples.
Like on 007. We'll keep it right there on the video.
Levis,
or Halo. We'll keep it. Yeah,
Levis didn't have enough big-time throws to outweigh the bad ones.
There we go.
With enough people open. They were open.
Because Levis does not have the anticipation to throw someone open.
That's all.
We are already seeing the anticipation of Cam on a 10-yard out. Hey, when you turn around, the ball's going to be there waiting for you. Not, I'm going to wait for you to break, then throw it. By the time I've thrown it, the DB's broken on it, and now he's running towards me, and I'm trying to dive behind him.
Corey in the chat said Will Levis is Rambo in the jungle.
Letting it go.
Yeah,
that's it.
Jungle.
That's it.
We
dog.
talking about
we need American Sniper, not Rambo.
There's some billions out here, man.
American Sniper.
Man. You did, and Will did great leading up with the training, leading up to it. But when it got real action, eyes got a little bigger, a little brighter. You know what I'm saying? And you continue to make the same mistake. So it's not like we came to this conclusion after a game. We had a body of work to look at to see what it was. So now you give Cam that same leash without question.
We need SEAL Team 6 out here.
Yeah. Plus he's the number one pick.
Search and destroy.
There it is.
Bingo.
My boy.
Coming up, some major changes coming to college basketball. Maybe not the one big change that we want yet, though. We'll talk about that with Ron Slay. And Game 4 in the NBA Finals. I've been watching the National Basketball Association, and I want my flowers from Ron Slay for doing so. We'll do that next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, man, I'm here to tell you, man, it is going to get hot and steamy. More than anything, the humidity of it. You want to keep the inside of your house cool, crisp, and just comfortable. And one of the companies that can do that can solve many problems, whether it be your plumbing, HVAC, or an electrical emergency. That's Hiller, okay? And here's the other part of it, too. Most times you don't know what it'll cost or if it'll get fixed, right? Or if somebody's just trying to sell you something that you don't need. But with Hiller, their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. And the price that you're told is always going to be the price that you always pay. There are no hidden fees or surprises when you get your bill. They've been here in the business for over 35 years and are family-owned and operated. And just simply, you can trust them, man. Best part about it, you know how it is when you have somebody come out to your house, you got to wait around all day. Not the case with Hiller. They will send you a photo of the tech and a link to the track to track them in real time so you don't waste time waiting around. And their motto is, happy you'll build, the service is free. And they absolutely mean that. Whatever's going on, if they don't fix it right the first time, they will get you right. And the service will be free behind it. But I'm here to tell you, to book with them or learn more, simply visit happyhiller.com.
Wrapping up the show on a Friday morning, Ramon and Will. Fueled by Scooters Coffee. Ron Slay is in the building.
Yes, sir.
Some big changes coming to college basketball that are still going to stick with 2 halves, not 4 quarters. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Coach's Challenge, different elements of things that are coming to the sport next year. Do you like some of the changes that we'll see reflected in college hoops next time around?
I do. I like the challenges. I like that. The quarters would be the biggest thing. I need that.
How will that change the game?
Man, because when teams get on runs and you pick up early fouls, say you're in the second half and you're in the bonus before you get to the 12-minute timeout, like you don't get a time to reset. So you're playing on eggshells and you're also not playing as aggressive as you can because of the foul situation. You can't foul. That's going to put them on the line. You're giving up 2 points when you got to think when you get to that 10-minute mark and it resets, you reset the fouls as far as the team fouls go and keeping them off the line. So you come out in that fourth quarter, you down by 16 or 14. You do have an opportunity to come back, depending on how they call in the game, depending on how you use your fouls, how smart you are. So it gives you an advantage of that way, and it gives you an opportunity to settle down when teams get on runs on the road. It's easy to go to that timeout at that break at the 10 minutes before the fourth quarter hits and like, all right, y'all settle in. You know what I mean? And then see if they can keep that momentum going. But you get more time, you know what I mean, in between. Like those media timeouts are cool. What is the 16, the 12, and 8, and the 4 minute? But give me the quarter. Give me the quarter and then you've been playing that way all your life. You know what I'm saying? All the way up from preschool, middle school, high school, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden you get to college and then you playing 2 halves and then you get pro, you start by playing quarters. It's like, what are you doing? I thought this was a universal game.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's treated as such.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I like it. It feels like a kind of thing that could help a team like Tennessee.
Yeah.
That often in the way games are officiated in the SEC regular season and in no other part of the season, it feels like if you breathe on somebody, it's a foul.
Right.
It allows you to continue to maintain that level of aggressiveness in the final 8 minutes of a game.
That's going to be huge, man. Nice. That is huge. I can't wait to see how it unfolds, but it's going to be interesting how coaches use it if we finally get to it.
I like it.
Yeah.
You upset real quick with Zakai not getting that year? We talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You got to imagine what it was going to change if he got it. You know what I mean? Like how many other people are going to be at the door. And I also understand that every case isn't treated the same. So they could have easily okayed that and then turned down somebody else that came along. So that's the difficult part for me. There's no consistency in what they're doing. You know what I mean? You say yeah to Diego Pavia. You say no to the third baseman up at Tennessee.
Alberto.
You know what I'm saying? So like what's the consistency in it? Yeah. Like you saying no, you know, so yeah, it is what it is. Like it would have been a bonus, but Zakai can go get his pro career started, man. He's a legend anyway, so.
Game 4 tonight in the NBA Finals. Pacers.
Yes.
Bench outscoring OKC by 30 points in Game 3. 49 bench points from Indiana on the other night. I watched the whole second half. I enjoyed it.
Good job, Will.
And Tyrese Halliburton, thank you. Look at me doing my job. Watching sports. It's such a hard life we live. Tyrese Halliburton is awesome.
Yeah, he can play, man.
He's awesome. And Pascal Siakam is too.
Yeah, Pascal was brought in to be that guy, you know, so it's good to see him finally, you know, get back to that Toronto version of himself. Got to do it consistently. Same thing for Halliburton. But I think Halliburton is one of the guys, I said it, man, coming into it, he's a guy that takes what the defense gives him. So they changed their defensive coverage. OKC did. It was a little lax. So you coming off the screen and you're back, you giving him a shot, he's going to shoot. You know what I'm saying? When the games when he wasn't scoring like that, they were up on the switches, on the pick and rolls. They were into his body, you know. And Indiana came back and flipped that. Indiana came out much more physical, as expected, playing a home game in the playoffs. So we got to see what OKC is going to do to get SGA a little bit more in the flow of it instead of, you know, passing them the ball, coming setting the screen, the defense loading up, and guys being right there. I want to see some more movement with him catching it and going instead of getting guys set. So it's going to be interesting for a young coach to kind of make that adjustment. But they got the guys. Do
you think the incorporation of Pascal Siakam into that Indiana team is the separator because he invited the entire team out to his house. And I listened to Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson speak about, like, this is the NBA Finals. You can't have SGA begging for fouls. And it seems like that's what he's doing a little bit. But I look at, like, that documentary they showed of them at Pascal Siakam's house. It was physical. They were together. Like, does that championship run he had in Toronto mean a lot more for them than it does with what's going on in OKC?
Absolutely. Like, he's the only one when you look at that team with championship experience. So he's the one that's able to bring that. He's the only one that's been there. OKC, even though they got superstar power in SGA, none of them been there before.
Don't know what it sounds like.
Yeah, you've had great seasons and everything. You're regular season MVP, but you've never been to this point before. That's why when Richard Jefferson is talking about it, it's like, yeah, that is cool leading up to this point. Yes, you were able to get them fouls going in the regular season. Refs are a little bit more, you figure it out.
They swallow the whistle.
Yeah, like you get it going, but that's the part of the growth. Same thing we was just talking about with Cam Ward. Like, you got to be able to go through experiences. And if OKC doesn't win, I got them picked to win in 6. But if they don't win, like, it can't do nothing but fuel them. Like, none of them have ever been there with that young nucleus that is hungry to be able to get back. Chet Holmgren's never been there. Lou Dort's never been there. Jalen Williams, SGA, Hardenstein, like, all of them. Like, none of them been there. But when you look at what the difference is with Indiana, they play all the way through. They play hard the whole time. And Pascal is the one with the NBA experience as far as winning a championship. And he was on that flip side. He was a young guy with Toronto at the time and had to work his way up and understand what it is, but you were able to follow a guy like Kawhi who had won plenty in San Antonio. So,
on the pop,
it's different, man. That experience is the best teacher, and there's nothing like it. Nothing can substitute for it. You just got to go through it. So we'll see where they are. But, Will, yes, I am happy with you.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Spending some time watching a little basketball. I had my a little nephew, man, Terrence Reynolds III. He just got named Tennessee Sports Gatorade Player of the Year for soccer in his junior year. So he's rising senior going to Georgetown next year. So we're going to get him on. Yeah, we're going to get him on. And this young man is a phenom. Wow. Like, y'all going to be talking about him, Will. I really want you and Pan to interview him because I don't know what I'm talking about. But you know, I got to show my boys some love. Like, this dude, man. Nice. Man, his dad grew up together, best friends. Terry Reynolds, man. When I say a phenomenal athlete, good gosh, phenomenal athlete. But Big Terry, his granddad was my father figure, coach leading up. Same way I talk about Coach Fitzgerald, I talk about him and Elaine Reynolds. So we got to get him on either. We're probably going to get him on Monday, man.
Come on.
I might have to have you come on and try to interview him.
I'm happy to. Look at us building bridges between our two sports. I love it. That is Ron Slay, 3 to 6, 3HL. Good to see you, sir.
No doubt,
Appreciate
baby.
you.
Yes, sir.
Back at it again Monday morning. We will begin a brand new week once again here on 104.5 The Zone with you, and we will talk to you then.
Hey, by the way, Savage, I'll also let you know there's a Hawkins hockey moment that pays well as of late. He said, bet the over.
Who's that?
Jayhawk.
Really? Always I bet the over yesterday.
Okay.
The under. I bet the under.
Yeah, he's been telling you in this hockey moment, bet the over. Just
I should have been listening to Jayhawk.
But y'all know how it goes, man. Call somebody you ain't talked to in a while, buy somebody a random drink, have a random conversation, call each other. ELE, everybody love everybody, man, but make it back to us on Monday and your Twitter fingers and your mic always hot.